welcome to Double Barrel Gaming Presents Game of the Year 2022. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you. We're going to be going over all of the big and small games for 2022. We're going to be giving you our biggest disappointments, our surprises. We're going to be giving you our top 10 in order of 10 to 1, which of course, at the end of that, we will have our group game of the year, and that is broken down through a point system, which of course we will get to momentarily. But let's get into the introductions first. Neo Mental, if you don't know, folks, this is my real life brother, and he's here. What's going on, brother? Long time, no time.
Well, thank you, good sir. It is a happy Saturday and all. I'm happy that I'm here and alive and no longer feeling the effects of the unknown virus.
Yeah, well, again, it's changing rapidly like the T virus. So we're glad that you're not a zombie.
Yes, because you know how that's gonna work.
Yeah. You're not gonna hang out and you're not gonna survive all those years after the zombie apocalypse.
Be alone, brother. You are alone because
this is a real prick, ladies and gentlemen. Live on the air, he's leaving me alone. But let's get Jay the Destroyer. Welcome back, brother. You're not on here too often, but we do this. This is our 5th annual Game of the Year event, and I'm excited for this. What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Same. How you doing, Mr. Boomstick? Just wanted to give a quick shout out to my son, Be the Destroyer, who's
nice
in the chat today.
Yes,
and has had a very active year in gaming.
You know what? He's probably done a lot better than I have. Every game that's every game that you'll see on my top 10, I only beat one of the 10, which is disgusting. And I did the cardinal sin of gaming, and that is play like 5 or 6 games at the same time, which I cannot stand it. But there's just
how can you not? I mean, it's not like when we grew up when you had one game like every 4 months. It's like I think 3 games a day dropping at this point. How can you play everything?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
A great problem to have, but
Well, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I suppose we can have other bigger problems than having way too many games to play, but we got to welcome in the grand wizard, if you will, the lead dog behind the scenes who has...
I don't know about that word.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean wizard in video games, knuckleheads. He's the one that came up with all of the show notes. He's the one that has come up with this points system, if you will, that determines the game of the year, and he'll explain it for us on exactly how we come to the group game of the year. And again, this is actually our 11th year doing this. Is it longer than 11 years?
It's been 11 years.
Okay, so it is. So 11? I was correct in saying so. It feel. Listen, folks, when you do something for as long as a decade, and like I said, the way that we used to do it is we would converge on one person's home, and we would hang out. We'd go to dinner, and then we'd come back and we'd play games and potentially make some trades with games when you could trade games. Now that's not so much the case because everything is digital. And we would just hang out like a group of friends. Now we all met. Well, obviously, I met my brother many, many years ago because, well, he's my brother. But Jay the Destroyer and Jay the Retro Gamer were co-workers of ours back in the Funkoland days. Now, I know that there's some old bastards in the chat that remember that. There are some new cats that are going to be like, Funkoland? What the H is that? Well, Funkoland is what GameStop is today. Or what EB Games was back in the days, and we all met there. We all worked we worked on many locations, but the one where we all met was, of course, the Funkoland on Central Avenue. That was right down the street from Nathan's, which is no longer there, which had a 200 cabinet arcade. Anyone from Yonkers?
Dope, dude.
That is sweet.
Home of the fun. I love it. That is just...
Dude, I'm so mad. I used to have the actual letters because I kept them, and I had DAN in the office, and I lost them in the move. That's dope.
I may or may not have a T-shirt as well.
You know what? Say what you want about Funko Land and how they used to shove, selling cleaning kits and funny. Before we get into the, why everyone is here, some history. When we all started, Game Informer was like a pamphlet.
Yeah, it was small.
Like 6 pages long. That's what Game Informer was back in the days. Now it's a real incredible magazine. It's one of my favorites, actually. I love the staff over there and the way that they still write things. Now, how much longer that it's going to be, I don't know. But
the fact that it still exists is incredible.
Yeah, and when we started, folks, the way it used to work is you'd buy a cleaning kit and you would get the Game Informer subscription, which was a pamphlet. I mean, honestly, folks, it was like 6 pages long. But listen, Jada Retro Gamer, what's going on, brother? And real quick before we get into some of the things that we're going to talk about for the games of 2022, explain to the audience how we go about the group game of the year. How is that determined?
Well, first of all, thank you. Glad to be here, and looking forward to getting into it. The way that the top 10 works is basically it's just your number 10. Each of our number 10 games gets 1 point, and our number 1 game gets 10 points. We all go round robin as we go through the list, and then the game collectively that has the highest number of points is our group game of the year. So everyone's list will obviously be individual to each of us. So it's pretty simple. So.
Yeah, and just give the people. You're not going to watch Sonic the entire time of the show. The way I have done it is I have a compilation of all the games that are in my specific list where I actually had gameplay. Of course, you're going to get some Gotham Knights. You're going to get some High on Life. You're going to get some Evil West, things of that nature. Elden Ring will be in there as well. So I'll cycle through so everyone can get so it's not just one thing that you're watching through the whole show. But listen,
thank you for asking us to send clips too, and I appreciate.
Well, I am sorry. There's limited time. But listen, we have done our round robin. We have done our introductions. I want to immediately go to one of the bigger problems, at least for me. Now, a lot of people here, everyone on the panel works. Right, I'm one of the few that are lucky enough to be retired. But technically, the word retired doesn't really go when you stream 5 days a week. And most of the shows are 2 hours. So for a lot of the time, I don't get a chance to play as much as I used to. It's just not enough hours in the day. That's the problem. So what we're going to discuss now are games that we wish we got to. And I'm going to go first on this. And this is obviously a cardinal sin for me, simply because I absolutely adored God of War 2018. Folks, I haven't even started God of War Ragnarok. Now, I know there's going to be some people in the chat and the people in the community that are going to be like, oh, you see, he's a bot. It's honestly not that, because I only beat 1 game last year, and it's just one of those games I just did not get to, unfortunately.
In his defense, the original God of War was the group game of that year. And
yeah, it was. Absolutely.
I wasn't even the one that I actually bet against it. So,
yeah, it was actually one of my favorite games. As a matter of fact, that year, 2018, God of War, almost from the inception, was going to be the game of the year. And in that holiday, Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out, and Odyssey is I have hundreds of hours into that game. So God of War lost out to it because, but it wound up being our group game of the year. So for me, the bag of shame is I just didn't have a chance to play God of War. I will get to it at some point this year, but then even then it's my God, we have so many good games coming out in just the first just like the end of this month and the beginning of next month. It's ridiculous, but. We'll go next to Neo Mental. What is your shame, if you will, of what you didn't get a chance to play last year?
Well, I mean, my shame was a lot. I mean, literally, like I was saying before, my top 10 list was only made because of these 10 games that hit. There was some games in there I didn't even want on my list, but you know, I think my big, well, it was a lot. I didn't get to Callisto. There was a lot of games actually. I can't even remember them all. I know there was like a good chunk of like a good 15 games I didn't get to. I really wanted to get to Dark Falls, which I kind of played for like 5 minutes. That looked really good. And Plague Tale. I didn't play the first one, and I hate playing a game when I haven't played the first one. But that looked really good, and I heard a lot of good things about it. I think that's probably my biggest frustration for the year.
I mean, that's a good one. And Callisto is you will learn often that there's a lot more frustration to not playing it than to actually playing it. You'll learn the ways of the force with that one. Jay the Destroyer, what for you? I mean, I know that you got a chance to play a lot of games, but is there a specific title that you're like, man, I heard so much about it, I didn't get a chance to really get into it? Anything jump off the page for you?
I wish I had more time to play. You know, work and everything, just everything adds up. Yeah, it's not like the way it was when we were like teenagers and, you know, nothing going on in life really. But for me, it was pretty much, you know, the new Call of Duty. I really didn't have a lot of time to get into, and I never touched Elden Ring. So Elden Ring is not on my list. I don't know if it would be anyway, because I'm really not a Souls guy, but I get it. So that's pretty much it. And again, these lists are not like, these are our favorite games.
Right.
It's not like, you know, we're writing for a website or, you know, a magazine or something. Like,
right.
These are our personal favorite games. It's the games that we got to. So we might have not touched a Call of Duty or an Elden Ring. So there you go.
No, I mean, listen, it makes sense. Like I said, when you have responsibilities, there's just time.
But also, we might have got to a game and didn't like it. So if you're not happy with that, then you know, I got some choice words for you, but not on the YouTubes.
Yeah, so we don't want to get we definitely want to get demonetized. That's
family friendly over here,
guys.
Jay the Retro Gamer, obviously the maestro of who puts these things together. This particular event, which is I'm very happy that we continue to do this. This is something that you know, you see done in big publications. No, I haven't seen many in the gaming circles that we hang out in, that a lot of people do this. This is something it's not done for clicks. It's not done for likes or subs. It's done for us. To share with the world, and you know, we already got almost 100 people here, which is awesome. If like I said, if you're new, you find the channel for the first time, and you like this kind of talk, because we're going to get real, and we're going to talk about some you know, past history of, you know, how we met and things of that nature, and you like that kind of talk, check out the channel. But Jay the Retro Gamer, is there a very specific game for you that jumps off the page? You kind of like, man, I kind of wish I got to it or got more time in it.
I mean, I'm going to echo, you know, Jade the Destroyer, and pretty much I think Elden Ring was the biggest game that I never got to just at all. I'm not usually a big fan of Souls games, simply because I'm not a fan of stamina meters in games, for just a pet peeve of mine. But on the PC, I know I can, you know, mod that thing away and try to customize the experience more to my liking. But yeah, I mean, I've just seen too much. I've seen enough gameplay to know that game does look incredible. And I can see why so many people adore that game. I wanted to get to it. It just never did.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I put it this way. Like if you look at Elden Ring, it's not the graphical showpiece. It's not a God of War, right? It looks good. It's gorgeous in some locations, but it's an open world Souls-like game. It's not the best thing I've seen in the year for sure, but there's no doubt about it that it does look good, and I shouldn't even like that game, to be honest with you. The way I feel about Souls games is they're frustrating, and at times that game can be frustrating as hell. It's just, it beats you down and continues on. And let me just bring up the footage of that, and then you guys can check that out as well. I will say this:
that game is like doing something with a cheese grater. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you could you could say that. You definitely could say that. I love it. Doing something with a cheese grate. That's great.
Keep it PG.
Look, at the end of the day, you're going to find our lists very different from like what you're going to see in publications. Because again, like Jay the Destroyer said, this is our list. These are the games that we found and enjoyed for the year. I have a couple of surprises on there. A lot of people maybe haven't even gotten to. Shout out to, where is it? Roadkill 8018. He says, how you didn't play God of War is just unreal. Dude, listen, I'm here, you brother. I am a God of War fan. And it's just I just don't have the time. Like I said, I'm not making excuses. When you stream 5 days a week, it's hard, man, to have time for everything. And for me, God of War, I don't want to play 15 minutes of it and be like, okay, let's move on to something else. That I want to invest and stay invested. I put a ridiculous amount of time into the original. I didn't platinum in the original because those Valkyries at the end were just, that last Valkyrie was ridiculous. I'm sorry. Even I had to drop it to easy and I still couldn't beat her. It's just ridiculous.
Wow, you suck.
I absolutely suck. There's no doubt about it. Maybe it's becoming an old man. I don't know.
Actually, I don't even know if I did that. I got to go back and look at that.
Yeah. But listen, I do want to move on to our biggest disappointments, because there's a couple of them in there for me that did not get onto the top 10. I wanted to love these games, and I have two. That were one's a multi-plat, one was an Xbox exclusive. At least currently it's an Xbox exclusive. They're both in the horror genre, and I have no idea what happened. And the first one for me is Scorn. I had such high hopes. I'm an H.R. Geiger fan. I'm an Aliens fan. I loved the aesthetics and the creepiness. But not having a map, not having a direction, I would spend what seemed like hours on a single puzzle, to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to YouTube to figure this out because this is ridiculous.
Boom. I agree with you 1,000%, and your choices are the same as mine. And that game, I couldn't even put in an hour. I wanted to love it more than anything. It was 5 minutes. I got to the first puzzle, and I said to myself, who the hell cares?
Yeah. And the other one's a shocker. I am one half boss fight from beating this.
So am I.
And I literally have been at that part for weeks. I have not gone back to it. I was hoping for some sort of a patch, and I'm talking about Callisto Protocol. Game is like, when you look at the game, right? It's a multi-plat, but it does have a very Sony look to it. Like the way Sony tells their movie games, right? Like, it just has such an incredible aesthetic to the graphics and to the way it's presented. And we know that it has that because Sony sent over a significant amount of devs from their studios to help finish the game. It's, for me, there are a couple of egregious development choices. First of all, the gun switching is the worst I've ever seen in my entire life. The save system, the checkpoint system, horrendous. You will learn that you will hate this game because of it, because specifically at the last boss, they start you in front of him, and you are literally holding the control to run the F away, otherwise you will die.
And he doesn't run.
He does. He's
barely runs. When you need him to run,
he just not
move. When you get in combat, it literally is like controlling a tank with arms. It really is like that. There is no quick, evade. There's nothing. You could block, sure, but there's no move back, get out of the. Once you're locked into someone, you're locked in, and you're getting hit on all. And this game is completely cheap hit city. Do you agree? It is. Cheap hit city. But there's a part of me that loves it. I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's something about it that I love because, again, I'm a fan of horror and stuff. A huge fan of horror. And it's just hugely disappointing what it could have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thankfully, it's original creators. They tried to do a love letter to Dead Space, and for the most part, folks, they did succeed in some areas. If I had some criticism, I would say not being able to cut pieces off of the creatures like you could in Dead Space was a big miss. I do like some of the weapons. Some of the weapons are pretty interesting.
Yep.
But I this is it's I put it this way: after the lackluster response from both critical and fiscal sales, I hope the studio still exists because they spent a significant amount of money that they're not going to make. They're going to take a loss on this for sure. Even if it drops down to like $20, and if I were to make a suggestion, if it's in your wheelhouse of like I got to play this game, it's a $20 game. $30 is probably the most. It's not a full price game.
That's shame.
No, sorry. I mean, I bought it at full price. I was,
Same here.
But it's some of its design decisions seem that they were rushed at the end to get it done, and that is a real shame. There was also some controversy that was put out there that I bought the season pass and everything, so I'm in, folks. I'm all the way in. It's a shame because there's some stuff like death animations hidden behind this, and it's just not a good look. Unfortunately, instead of having check boxes off, it has a lot of X boxes, and that's not good. But for you, Neomento, what's one of your disappointments for 2022?
Well, I can't decide between Elden Ring and Horizon Zero Dawn. Elden Ring, like I said earlier, it was like it's not. You know what? I'll say this: Elden Ring is not a bad game. Elden Ring is not for me.
Yeah, that's
I can
fine.
see why people like it. I mean, you had George R.R. Martin writing for the game. I wanted to like this game, but I'm not a fan of like games where like you have to die like a billion times to get some type of progression. I just, 2022 was a rough year for me, and it was just like games are what I'm doing to relax. And it's like if I'm literally frustrated at the thing that's supposed to be relaxing me, what am I doing? I mean, I don't understand this type of game because I just don't get that masochistic enjoyment. But I mean, this game clearly has a lot of content for people that like it. I don't fault you for it. I just know that this game is not for me, and I would never ever buy or get into this series again. But that was my disappointment. Just the mechanics of it. Yeah, I can't. And Horizon was just, I played that day one, and between the bugs and the story problems, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but that ending was super rough and made no sense, and I don't even understand where the next game is going to go to because. Wow.
I never saw one bug. And you guys have always said bugs. I never saw one, but that was just my playthrough, and I have no idea what the bug. I never saw any bugs.
Yeah, there was a lot of clipping problems. I mean, I had problems where like a lot
of the climbing issues where it just when you were trying to grab, it just wouldn't grab. I fell through the game 3 times. And 3 times in a row, I lost 30 plus minutes of play.
Yeah, I've had that
didn't
problem.
Save, and I was like, you know what, F that.
I attribute just like Cyberpunk. Like I had like almost no issues with Cyberpunk. A lot of people had mad issues with it, so I get it. But
I had a huge issue with Cyberpunk. Do you know what it was? It sucked.
We're not going there, but I mean, listen, I just to the final boss is like literally like David versus Goliath. And the fact that you beat this thing with a stick, it's a stick. I had a lot of problems with it. I'm just not a fan of the game anymore. And I wanted to be, but I think the only reason why I beat it was just because I was like, I'm in it, and just pride was like, I have to beat this. That's literally the only reason why I beat the game. Because like halfway through, I was like, I just didn't want to keep playing it.
I got to get back to it eventually. Like I said, I mean,
watch the story on YouTube, and that's it. Because again, the story makes no sense.
100 times. I doubt there's many more bugs in there. Okay, and it's a very, very good game.
Great looking game.
I agree.
For me, I was marred with bugs, but Jay the Retro Gamer, what for you jumps off the page in regards to your big disappointment or disappointments of 2022?
Yeah, I mean, open world games typically are certainly in my wheelhouse. So I'm going to take a left turn compared to you guys. My biggest disappointment of the year was Saints Row.
So
most people, I don't even think touched it.
I did.
I did.
Most people would agree that they've played one of these games in the past and really enjoyed it, whether it was the Saints Row 3, 4, one of them. It's just such a unique take on that genre, and it doesn't take itself seriously. It's just a fun game. And I started playing this and had zero fun.
Yeah.
Zero fun playing it. And I just, after 2 hours of it, I'm just like, I don't feel the need to invest any more time in this. And
a lot of these games, guys, it all depends on what you're spending on them. So for Saints Row, I got it on the cheap for $20.
That's good.
And for $20, and I expected nothing from it, but for $20, I had a decent, okay time.
Is this still?
I actually spent $90 on it because I bought the super ridiculous digital edition. So
I returned it. I returned it.
Super edition.
Dude, I played it for like maybe half an hour, maybe an hour at most. Because going into it, like you saw the reviews and everyone was saying that they had problems with it. And it was like I encountered like a couple of issues, and I was like, you know what they're saying? Because usually, they don't know. We have a difference of opinion. But when I started seeing the same issues, I was like, nope. I just put in for the refund. I got it, and I was like, I'll get it when it's on sale.
Yeah, it's just I just know the franchise is such so well loved.
Yeah,
to see it fall like that was a just a big disappointment. And hopefully, it's not the end of the franchise.
I hate to sound like an old person, but they were just like, hey, let's get all woke and do all these things and put these 19-year-old kids in there. And we're going to put these young kids
Are you trying to suggest that they were like a bunch of people from Starbucks? Because that's the one thing the criticism I heard. And I was like, what? You're right.
Yeah. Listen. I get that we want to reinvigorate franchises. But, I mean, you had like one of the best characters in Johnny Gat. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. There was no reason to do that stuff. And listen, if you wanted to start over, that's fine. But I don't know. I just don't understand what they did. I couldn't vibe with it. It didn't feel like Saints Row. It's almost like, I don't know if anyone's seen the new Scooby-Doo, the Velma.
Yeah, I did. I didn't like it.
It's the same thing. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? That's another tangent. Bad game. Very bad. Stop making games
listen,
like that.
It is what it is. But we do have this is the fun topic that's next. What games that we got, what games we played this year that were last year's games. This one should come as no surprise, but for me, it's Forza Horizon 5. And it's because of the Hot Wheels DLC, which I thought was phenomenal. It is such a change from the original Hot Wheels, where it has different biomes on these orange tracks that you're driving around. You're getting stuff in jungles, you're getting stuff with waterfalls, you're finding your way through snowy capped mountains that you can drive off the tracks and run around and find your hidden areas, which I thought was awesome. Listen, what could you say about Forza Horizon 5? It's probably one of the best racers ever made. Without sounding like a fanboy, it's what they do over at Playground Games is just masterful. I'm looking forward to what the next DLC is. I have no idea what it's going to be, but it's gonna. I'll put it this way: it's gonna be hard to top. So for me, the one game that I keep going back to that was a 2021 game is Forza, and that's because of the new DLC, which I absolutely love. What about you, Neo Mental? Is there a specific game that you played this year that was last year's flavor?
I did play. Well, I mean, a game that I didn't get to last year that I started playing was the Dark Side Detective.
Okay.
As a point, you know me, I love point and click games, and that's actually, I actually put a pretty decent chunk into my backlog. I started playing games for like 2010, 2016, 2017 this year. And this one came out last year. And it's a little weird too, because a lot of these games that we're getting on the Xbox and PlayStations are PC games. So it's like it'll say it came out in 2021, but it actually came out like 6 years ago. But this one came out in 2021, and I like that humor. It's like that dark humor along the lines of like High on Life, and it's old school pixel graphics. So I get lost in that stuff. And that was really fun. I'm mad that like a lot of these games, and it was just like I think a $20, $15 game. I'm mad that I haven't gotten to a lot of these. And that's what I've been trying to do this year is especially on Steam. But again, like I get, I'm working 12 hours a day sometimes on the computer. So it's like when I'm done, I kind of just want to get away from this thing and just, get to the console. But I'm trying to get to more PC games. But yeah, that was my take.
Yeah. Shout out to M. Gene in the chat. He says, Boom, is that your Elden Ring gameplay? Yes, indeed. Everything that you're going to see on the screen is all from my gameplay.
Yeah. I'm typing that now because he didn't ask us for any footage. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice
Well,
guy.
that's what brothers do, Try to be not. Shout out to Trey's Town. What's going on, brother? Welcome. He says, why is Boom streaming on a Saturday? This is a gift. That's very kind of you. I don't stream. I take 2 days off. I spend all my weekends with Mrs. Boom. Today's an anomaly, so to speak, because it's our Game of the Year podcast. So we do this once a year. Shout out to Bone Slave, good friend of the program. He's here all the time. He says, I'm at the end of Dishonored 2. Backlog is crazy. And my backlog is as tall as I am, and I'm 6 feet. So it's ridiculous. But Jay the Retro Gamer, what for you is your 2021 game that you went back to in 2022?
Outside of open world games, the other big genre in my wheelhouse is Metroidvanias.
Yes, they are.
But you're definitely gonna hear a few of them throughout the show. The one game that came out very late in 2021 that I got to late this year was a game called Eterna Noctis.
Okay.
It's just, if you play on the PC and you're a fan of the genre, you just have to know that there's been a ton of great Metroidvanias outside of Ori and Hollow Knight that just fell into my radar. I mean, I discovered it and I literally fell in love with it, but the game is unapologetically punishing. But outside of that, it checks all the boxes. It's beautiful. It's got great controls, good map design. The abilities are great. But the fact that it's punishing, my aging reflexes can't deal with that anymore. So, but I did love it. If a challenging Metroidvania is your thing, it's a no-brainer. So definitely check it out. So.
All right, that's cool. I mean, listen, I it's funny. Now that's PC only.
No, it's on major platform: PC, Xbox, PS5.
I definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not for it's definitely a hardcore, but outside of that, it is amazing.
Well, listen, that's the one thing about gaming that, that Neo Mental was saying, like back in the days, if anyone if anyone here is over 30, or even, I would even say 35, we used to get maybe like 3-4 games a year, right? Like there'd be just a couple of games a year. And I mean, talking about good games, there'd be a ton of shovelware. It's, now it really is. The younger generation is so spoiled, and I don't mean to be like a hating old man. I mean, it is what it is.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, we all grew up with sticks and dots, right? And to be where we are now from where we were is a gift, right? Like we can honestly say we saw gaming go from like the 70s, die in the 80s, early 80s, and come back with the Nintendo, with the NES. in '85. So we've seen the birth, the death, and then the rebirth of gaming, and here we are all these years later, and games look like movies that you can't even tell the difference, which is crazy. So we're over, at least for me, I'm incredibly privileged. But we're going to be rolling into our setup for the our top 10, which we'll do a round robin kind of a discussion on each, going from 10 to the number 1. But we got to do some honorable mentions.
Boom! Can I just throw in the game for me?
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
Mine fell right on the line because it came out on Game Pass in 2022, but it really was released in 2021. So for me, I just consider it that Proteus. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable. Yeah. Just if you love Doom, it is just I played the crap out of it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely a good one. I mean, listen, like I said, there's so many games and so little time to play through them all that there's gonna be games on our list that you can be like, I can't believe that's on, or I forgot to put it on my list. That happens all the time.
Yep.
But I mean, Iman Burns in the chat says, my go-to dirty little game or guilty pleasure is Fallout 76. He has 2,000 hours in it. Yeah, I mean, I bought it for the helmet, which I have right over here. I don't. I played very little of the game early, and it wasn't that great. I heard that it's amazing now. It's not the kind of Fallout I want. I really want a traditional single-player Fallout. Hopefully, we'll get that before 2030. I don't know if that's
they added a lot of content to it. A lot. Like I think.
Yeah, I heard.
The only other franchise I think that's been adding that much content has been No Man's Sky, but they've really been pouring stuff into it.
Yeah.
Every time I go back, there's like a bunch of stuff in there. So actually, I haven't played it in a minute. I need to go back into that.
Yeah, no, I'd like to give it a shot. One of the games from Bethesda, Softworks, I never got into, and I wish I did, is Elder Scrolls Online. Like they have, that's another thing they have added so much content to. There's going to be a big content drop that they're talking about after Wednesday's Xbox show. I wish, and I know you can play it in single player. You don't need, it's an MMO, but they have set it up where you can play it as a single player. You just can't do any of the big dungeons, which makes sense. That's fine. Prince Green in the chat says, "Yep, Boom, I'm 37, and I remember we didn't have IGN for reviews. We didn't even have Game Pass. We didn't have all of these indie games, etc." Yeah, there's a lot that we didn't have, but you know what? Here we are all these years later, and we are still gamers, which is awesome. But honorable mentions, I'm kind of on the fence about this. I don't have a lot, to be honest with you. I do have a couple of games that I didn't get a chance, to get to, which we talked openly. For me, I loved it and disliked it because I couldn't figure it out. And Metal Hellslinger is an honorable mention for me. I love the music. Obviously, it's death metal. Jada Destroyer is a huge fan. He's wearing a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt, so he's a big fan of that. That's one of those games that I just couldn't figure out the beat mechanics. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. I played through it. I probably put about 3 or 4 hours into it. I was like, yeah, I'd like to add that as an honorable mention. The other honorable mention for me is Stray. I know that it's not game of the year quality. I will say that.
Wow.
But I will say the game,
the cat game.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it.
Definitely deserves credit for sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. This was a small team. The game looks gorgeous. Very little words, if any. The puzzles are intriguing. Sometimes they're a little bit mind-numbing. But I wanted to add, I wanted to add I wanted to add Stray to the conversation because it did get a lot of accolades. I think it's deserving of those accolades. Do I think that it should have been in the Game of the Year category? I do not. I think the game is good, but I don't think that it should be a Game of the Year. For you, Neo Mental, and any specific, honorable mentions before we get into our lists?
I mean, like I said before, Dust Falls and Gotham Knights. I mean, I really wanted to get into them. Just 2 games. It just came out in the time I was playing other stuff. I think Dust Falls is probably my biggest one that I wanted to get into because it just looked beautiful. The fact that they had a lot of actors and stuff into it. I just loved when they really get into the production of a game. Because for me, everything is story matters. I don't really care about the graphics. But I just like the setup and getting into it. The fact that they had multiple things to do. Or multiple endings and things like that. I think eventually I'm gonna really get into it, but yeah.
I mean, listen, it's just time. Time is the big word for being able to get to all these games, and it's just so many of them. Jay the Destroyer. What are your honorable mentions for 2022?
Definitely Arkham Knight was wait, Gotham Knights. I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry. Gotham Knights I thought did not deserve as much hate as it got. I thought it was a really good game. I enjoyed it. It had a lot of issues and there were things that were really fun about it. Then I have the big horror fans. So The Quarry is one of them.
That's another. I didn't get to that, dude.
I completely effed up the ending. So for me, that game took a very bad turn at the end, but it was all my fault, and I stuck to it. And but as far as supermassive games go, I thought that they had a better game this year, even though it didn't have that budget, and you'll find out. And I love shmups. I love old school shooters. And there was a game called Soul Cresta that came out. A lot of people didn't know that Platinum Games put out a shooter this year.
I did not know that.
And the music was killer. It was like Yuzo Koshiro, who did the music for. It's on. I have it on the PS5. The guy who did the music for Revenge of Shinobi.
Oh,
and
wow.
Why can't I think right now? Revenge of Shinobi and another Streets of Rage. Music's incredible. It's a ton of fun. Is it worth $40? No, it's not. It's probably not. That's a high price, but it was on sale like not too long ago. But it's a great. Check it out if you like old school shooters.
Yeah, you got to send me the name of that because
Soul Cresta.
What is it? What is it?
Soul Cresta.
Soul Cresta. I'm gonna write that down.
Soul is just SOL.
Terra Cresta.
Yeah, I played a bunch of old school, like back in the days, 80s side-scrolling stuff that they released. It was on everywhere, and I think they're like $10 a piece. And I wound up buying like 11 of them. You can suggest that I did it for the achievements, but I love shooters. I love shooters. So, and I'm not talking about FPS shooters, folks. I'm talking about old school, old man.
Yeah, it used to be called shooters.
Yes.
Before the youngsters came in and changed it to shmups, which I think is
shmups.
Stupid as hell. But I'll do it.
Shmups.
To get the point across.
Sounds like you're talking to your wife.
Yeah. Mark in the chat says which game he's talking about. Soul Cresta, SOLCRESTA. If you want to check it out, he got it on the PlayStation 5. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a Switch and PlayStation 5 exclusive, like Xbox didn't get it.
I think it is.
That's just unfortunately, that's just the thing. That's just the way Xbox is on the pay no mind list for those types of games. And that's a shame because I will buy them on the Switch. I will buy them on the PS5.
You can play your shmups with your new dual controller.
Yeah, well, there's that. Jay the Retro Gamer, is there some honorable mentions for you for 2022?
Yes, being Jay the Retro Gamer, it's probably no surprise that my honorable mention would be a retro game.
Okay.
Which is Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection.
Nice.
Get to that.
Now, I know before you guys moan and grow, look, you got to show some. This is the granddaddy of video games.
I just thought it was overpriced.
I shied away because of the
doubt
price.
it, but for those who remember, look, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to who is the father of the video game console, the Magnavox Odyssey, but it was Nolan Bushnell and Atari who popularized it and culturally brought it into everyone's home.
Yep.
I loved pouring through all of the archival footage in there with all of that 70s artwork, watching interviews, old commercials, even sampling the old retro games as well as some reimagined games that they put on there. And by the way, Tempest 2000 still rocks. There are actually Jaguar games on there.
Imagine.
The overall package wasn't perfect, but Digital Eclipse did a great job. And for me, it definitely was worthy of the name, the anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
So I can't believe it's been 50 years, though.
I know. I definitely wanted to get to that because it had River Raid on there. And
I mean, granted, it's not technically a game, but it's an honorable mention.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. If I ever see that for like $20 on a flash sale, I will jump all over that.
Yeah, but agreed with Jay the Destroyer. Yeah, it is definitely more expensive than it should be, but it's still worthy of being in a collection when it drops. So
yeah, I'm probably gonna buy that tonight just because I can't remember what I remember looking at it and I remember going past it. I'm like, I'm gonna come back to it, and I kind of forgot about it. So the fact that you reminded me,
if it's on sale, pick it up.
I'm giving them money. That's my childhood. I honestly remember it was the only game I would play with my mom. It's the only game. So it's like I remember that. Like, man, that was a lot of fun. I played that on my 5200.
Yeah, there's games on there from the 5200, the Lynx, the Jaguar, which you never see.
Man. Jaguar you don't want to see, but
other than Tempest and Aliens.
Tempest 2000 on the Jaguar was it's amazing that iconic game started there. There's another game that no one talks about, Atari Jaguar, that I drove 95 miles an hour after. Yeah, that's right. Aliens vs. Predator. I still have the box. I still have the game. I still have the overlays. What an incredible game! Aliens vs. Predator.
They couldn't get that one on there for.
For licensing reasons. Which, by the way, I know this is the game show. The new trailer for Alien, the new Alien film, was dope. I cannot wait to see that.
They dropped the trailer.
Yeah, there's a new trailer. Yeah, they released it 2 days ago. It's coming. It's a full on feature. It's coming 2024. It's a new Alien film. It looks awesome.
Wow!
It looks awesome.
How did we never hear of this?
How did that just completely?
I can't believe Jay the Destroyer doesn't know about this. Yeah. Him and his son are alien freaks. A new Alien film coming by Hulu Films, and it looks amazing. Go watch the trailer. It's freaking ridiculously good.
Yeah, I'm about to go watch right after this.
And if you have keen ears, you're going to hear that the pulse rifle makes a return. Who's using the pulse rifle? I don't know because it's very cryptic. But it's what the hell's the name of it? Is this a
reboot or is it a continuation?
It's just an alien film, kind of like the Predator film with the Native Americans.
Oh, that was dope because they could literally keep going with that one. I hope they do.
I want to see that. I could watch it anytime that it was like when we were looking through. I'm like, wow. We saw it twice, Mrs. Boom and I. I thought the new Predator film was
dope,
freaking brilliant. But yeah, go check it out. The trailer's up there now. I'll get the name of it and I'll drop it.
I wrote it right down here. I'm gonna go look for it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it looks again. It's a teaser trailer. It's 2024, but it's like I said, if you listen, you hear the pulse rifle, and they show it. They show the pulse rifle with the rounds out of it, and you get a chance to see the alien at the end of what it looks like. It looks dope. But let me reel this back in, folks. We're gonna get into our top 10, and we're gonna go again. Just so you know, we're gonna go from 10 to 1, and then of course, the way that was explained by Jada Retro Gamer is number 1 game gets 10 points, number 10 game gets 1 point. And at the end of it, we will all have our own game of the year, but we will have our group game of the year as we have done in the past. And and we'll do the round robin. Let me just change the footage. Let me throw some High on Life, which is amazing. You missed out on this game because you only go based on reviews from the sites. Don't do it. Play the game yourself. But listen, let's get into the real nitty gritty, if you will, of number 10. And let me pull up my list here in front of me. For me, folks, this actually did make a lot of lists. Like when I was looking at some of the bigger sites, and I'm very surprised by it. For me, folks, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga was awesome. I thought that they brought a lot of what makes Lego games fun and appealing and amusing. and to get that many films in one location redone in the way that TT Games makes these Lego games. I honestly think as many games as they have made, and they've made a lot of really great ones. Lego Marvel Superheroes happens to be one of my favorites because of the cast of characters that are in it. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga was brilliant. Graphically, I think it's probably one of the best works they've done, especially if you're playing it on your PS5 or your Series X. It's just the plastic looks real. Like you can reach into the screen and take out one of the Lego figures. That for me, that's my number 10. For you, Neo Mental, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is Somerville, because I found another game to knock Horizon off that damn list. So Somerville, I played it, I beat it. It was enjoyable. I think the ending was very weird. The ending, well, there was multiple endings to it. But it didn't really explain the game. So I finished the game and have no idea what happened. For anyone that never heard of it, it's you know what? It gave me like flashback or out of this world vibes. There's no fighting in it. It's just literally like, side scrolling, running around and figuring out puzzles. It was good, but like I said, you finish it and it's like the game ends. It's like no real description. So I mean, it was an enjoyable excursion, but that's about it. But I'd like to see more games like that kind of, break that mold.
So let me stop you for a second. You talked some bad mojo about Horizon, but then you were going to have it on your top 10.
Only because I didn't have enough games to fill my top 10. So I could have just been like, well, I don't have a top 10 game. It was there literally because I only had 9 games that I played for 2022. That was the only reason why it was there.
Okay.
Guys, Iman Burns, thank you for the save. It's called Alien Romulus, is what it's called. Yes,
I was looking for it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Alien Romulus. Thank you for the save, brother. I could not remember it.
We appreciate it.
Jay the Destroyer. What is your number 10 of 2022?
My number 10 is Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, I didn't play it. I'm going to play it this year. Yeah.
Tango Gameworks that did Evil Within 1 and 2. Loved both of those a ton. And it just came out, and not a lot of talk about it, but tons of fun. I like the great graphics, everything. I mean, it's been patched a couple times. I don't think there were a lot of issues at the beginning, but just a lot of fun. And if you're into a Tango Gameworks type, Evil Within type game, sort of, it's got that vibe to it. It's awesome. It's a really, really fun game.
Yeah, I wanted to get to it.
I definitely will be playing that for sure. It's going to come to Game Pass this year. I think actually soon, as a matter of fact. I think it came out in the spring of last year. I definitely it looks incredibly interesting. So I'll definitely play that when it comes out for Xbox for sure. I didn't do what I did with Deathloop. I bought Deathloop on the PlayStation 5, played through it for about 4 hours, realized I didn't like it, tried it again on Xbox, and I was like, yep, this game is just not for me. For some people, it was game of the year, game of the century. For me, I was like, yep, it's a big pass, big miss. Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your number 10?
All right, so we're going to start this list off nice and easy, just like this game, which is called Haiku the Robot. This little 2D indie Metroidvania with pixel graphics and a cute, if not overly simple, art style. Look, there's no part of this game that's great. The combat, the upgrades, the tight controls are really, really good, though. I mean, the overall package was a lot of fun, and even for just a few hours that it would take just to beat it. Not every game needs to be the next Ori or Hollow Knight. And you know what? That's fine. What was there is just, I completely enjoyed it from start to finish. So.
I mean, listen, I never heard of it, to be honest with you, and that's good. That's
again, I think it's on. I certainly know it's on Switch, PC. I'm not sure if it's on the other consoles, but
I'm gonna have to check.
Yeah, I did drop, for anyone that wants to check it out. Someone in the chat asked if I could drop the link for Alien Romulus. It's in. I just dropped it into the chat. Check it out. Check out the trailer.
Yeah, but not now.
Yeah.
No, well,
After.
I mean, they could do both. I just did it, and I'm podcasting, for Christ's sake. So I think people could do that. Yeah, it's 1 minute and 4 seconds. It's a teaser trailer. It is a Hulu's original, FYI.
Does it say when it's dropping?
2024, next year.
Oh, got it.
So it's in development as we speak.
Well, didn't they do the Predator one?
Yes, they did. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm here for it. I think
I'm all in. I'm all in. But listen, let's get to the number 9 spot. For me, this is a bit shocking because I'm not a mobile guy, folks. But I could not stop playing this game. I was playing last night for 2 hours.
Snap.
And I'm talking about Marvel's Snap.
Yeah, I knew it.
What an unbelievable! Like Neo Mental and I used to play Magic the Gathering, like when it first started. We got into it in yeah, listen, it's fine. It's fine. We used to go hang out in the garage and play.
But we made it look good.
We made it look good. Indeed, we did. And we got into Magic the Gathering not in their first 2 sets. I think it was the first expansion set that we got into. We got
it at the beginning of 4th edition.
The 4th edition. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We missed the dual lands, and we missed all of the
Moxes.
The Moxes, and if we had those cards now, wow, we'd be millionaires. Those cards are worth so much money, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yes, Marvel Snap is a game that is free to play. It does have a season pass, like most, gas games. I bought season pass right now. They're in the Savage Lands. It's heavily inspired by Black Panther and Storm, of course, which those 2 characters are absolutely some of my favorite. And Kazar is in it. And if you're a big Marvel fan and you know what the Savage Lands are, it is just freaking phenomenal. Like, it's the cards, and you could build them up. You level up the cards, and each card has a different use. I absolutely love it. I built what I think to be deck is only 10 cards. So you mix and match. I have a deck that I've built that I don't want to go away from. I tweak it every now and again, but try out Marvel Snap. Again, it's free to play. That is my number 9 pick. I'm again not a mobile guy, but God, that is so good.
I think it's on it's on PC too, I think.
Your PC as well. Yeah, if you want to play on PC, you can. Absolutely. But I play it on my phone. Which is it's fine.
I heard a lot of people talking about it.
I think that you would be addicted to it, Neo Mental. I think you would dig it, honestly. You're a card guy like myself, but Neo Mental, what is your number 9 pick?
Well, before I get into that, do you know if it's cross? Because if I play it on my phone, and will it pick up on the PC?
I'm pretty sure that it's cross-play. Like, if you have it playing it on one, it should just move your stuff over because you just log in.
All right, I need to check that out tonight. So yeah, my number 9 is Gran Turismo.
That doesn't get enough attention.
It really didn't.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. It gets dogged a lot, and it's a really solid game.
All right. Hit Joe. Someone just hit my door.
Yeah, go. We will come back to you. Jada Destroyer, what is your number 9 pick, dude?
My number 9 is Turtles.
Oh, good one.
Really good. I love any kind of game that brings me back to 25 years ago or more. And I just thought it just felt so good. And just they captured everything they needed to capture, and they did what they needed to do. So good on them, and that's my number 9.
That's a great pick. That is a fantastic pick. Very well done. You're absolutely right. I remember going to the arcade to play the original Ninja Turtles and Turtles in Time, and they figured out a way to make this game appeal to both new and old school, specifically the old school players. If you are an arcade kind of if you have an arcade history where you played Double Dragon, or you played The Simpsons, or the Marvel game, or pick my favorite arcade game, side-scrolling beating 'em up. I beat it once, or I beat it a couple times a year. And thanks to Jay the Retro Gamer, I have a way to do that. Aliens versus Predator by Capcom. My God, what a great game. I wish that would come out on home consoles, the same way Turtles did. That was absolutely incredible. But that's a good one. Neo Mental, what is your number 9 pick?
All right, so yeah, sorry, Gran Turismo.
Wow, that's a shocker.
So yeah, I mean, I've loved Gran Turismo since day one.
Yes, you
I
did.
remember getting it from Jay the Destroyer. He had the Japanese version of Gran Turismo like 8 months before it came out. And I remember buying it from he was like, I can't play this game. I hate it. And I remember getting it from him for $20. And I've loved that game ever since. And I remember just sitting down with like game facts translations and stuff, trying to figure out ratios and all this other stuff.
Facts.
Yeah, because the whole game was in Japanese, and it was like trying to figure out how to mod your car and all this other stuff, plus figuring out what the licenses were for and all this other things. So like I've always liked that whole like straight racing. You're not driving on the grass. You have to like drive. You have to have your lines, know when you're braking, stuff like that, without the assist. So when they dropped 7, I was like, all right, I got to buy it just because. But I actually had a lot of fun with it. And it had a lot of problems. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten back to it because there's so many problems that gave people like $1 million in the game, which is a lot considering. So I need to get back to it, but it was really good. I was happy with a lot of it, and I think they kind of like Apex at this point between the graphics. I mean, between that and for Horizon, I mean, I think like you're really nitpicking at the way the graphics look. So I think just right now we're more focused on gameplay, and it had a lot of solid gameplay. And if you have a PlayStation, you gotta. If you like racing, real like straight racing, you gotta get it. It was dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of the games I didn't get to. After the way it released, I was not buying it.
I don't think you're gonna enjoy it because I mean, not that you're not technical, but it's way more of the technical stuff. I mean, you like to just go out there and smash in the walls and stuff. And if you're trying to try the driver's license, you're not gonna get it because as soon as you hit the grass, you're like, nope, start over. So.
I'd be frustrated by that immediately.
Yeah. Mr. Come On Man has no patience. So no, it's not for you.
Man also, yeah.
No, not for you. But
good
game.
Fine. That's fine.
Buy it, support.
Yeah. I will try it when it's in their service that I just paid $120 for the year. When it's
what did you do? Did you do the regular or the high or?
I did the full boat, the full Monty. I upgraded last year. They had like $30 for my last 4 months or last 5 months, and they're like, just upgrade for $30. And I did it for Stray, and I'm not sorry that I did. I did it so I can get my hands on Stray, and I was going to buy Stray anyway. So it was like $33 to upgrade or $30 to buy Stray. I was like, yeah, I'll just upgrade. And I wasn't going to upgrade it first, but for $120 for the year, it's fine.
I'll probably do that. Yeah, all right.
Eventually, Sony will be putting in some day and date stuff, especially in the indie. They just have to get their footing. They're never going to be Xbox Game Pass, but which is disappointing. I'd love their games.
I don't think they want to be.
No, they
financially speaking, I don't think it works for them.
I agree, especially the way they spend money on games. It's fine. It's $120. I'm the premium tier, if you will, and. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right.
Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your number 9 pick?
My number 9 pick is going to echo yours, Mr. Boomstick. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I'll admit, I do like the original Lego Star Wars games, but they never really hooked me. They were mainly distractions for like an hour or two, but they were fun for what they were. But I am a huge fan of the original trilogy, and I may be a lapsed fan for many years, but when I played this game for the first time after being sucked in by the positive buzz, my expectations were tempered, but still low. I was pleasantly surprised by how actually deep the gameplay was in this game and how much of the sheer amount of detail they put into every aspect of this game. there were many tweaks and updates to just the moment-to-moment gameplay that made it feel a lot more modern, fresh, and more like the games that I play today. I mean, make no mistake, it's still a Lego game, but in the end, I enjoyed this way more than I expected to.
Yeah, it's have they released a bad one? Hard to say. I guess it depends on what franchise they've done it, but this was, for me, I agree with you. I think this is probably one of their finest accomplishments, simply because there was so many films and it was so much content from so many different films. In like, for instance, I loved what they did with Empire Strikes Back. Like, absolutely loved what they did. And each film has its own flavor. Again, if you're a fan, regardless of whether you are a fan of the original trilogy, the middle one with the clowns, or, well, is anyone really a fan of the last three films?
Let's not go there now.
Let's not go there. But but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember the original games. Just like I said, they were fine. They were good, but compared to the way we were used to playing action games and other types of games with a little more meat on the gameplay side of it, those games couldn't hold up. This one does a lot more to make it closer to that, to games that we would play now. But again, still holding, the idea of them being real Lego games still.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I mean, it's solid pick so far, and nothing real. Well, I guess the only surprise for me is Neo Mental's edition of Gran Turismo. I did forget that he did like that series way back in the days. And yes, we used to import everything. As a matter of fact, I've probably told the story a dozen times. We used to go, and I say we, Jay the Destroyer, Neo Mental, and I used to go to a shop right off of Queens Boulevard. You know what? I don't even remember the name of the shop, but I do remember the guy. It was a very older Asian man that was very, very, very cheap. He actually had us call him grandfather.
Cheap. The guy was a business guy.
He was a crook, is what he was. But yeah, he used to have all the kids us call him grandfather, which we did, and all of those years ago, it's like, for me and Neo Mental, we look back and we thought, did we actually meet them? And we did. And I'm talking about two people that I consider to be, they're my family, and I'm talking about King David and Lord Cognito. They used to frequent that show. In fact, King David worked behind the counter, and crazy. I remember seeing this mountain of a man behind the counter, and I'm like, no one's stealing from grandfather, because if he gets your hands on you, you're dead. And he was the muscle. King crazy. David was grandfather's muscle. And all of those years ago, we met King David and Cognito, and we had no idea who they were until all of these years later, when we learned about the Iron Lords, and they were, I had told the story of grandfather and where we used to go, and they were like, are you sure? Because that's where we used to hang. And just goes to show you what a small freaking world it is.
Now I could be wrong about this, but does anybody remember the other dude who used
the guy around the corner? The guy used to eat.
No. There was another guy that worked there.
I think his
name was Gabe. Does anybody remember Gabe?
Yeah, the Asian kid.
Yeah,
I remember him.
So it was Gabe and Lord Cognito, and that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to rename the whole staff to the store.
It's funny. Gabe was when grandfather wasn't there. If I remember, Gabe was a little bit more giving. He was
towards the end. Yes, he was there. Yes. Yeah.
He traded in a game to Gabe. He gave you more.
Grandfather did not.
Unless he was there and he would go over and he'd come back and he says, grandfather say we can give you $30 or 25 cents for game.
I remember one time I spent $60. I walked out.
He's laughing because he knows where I'm about to go.
I drove all the way home. I hated whatever I bought, and I was so anal about stuff that I had to drive right back. And I swear it was less than 2 hours. I just bought a brand new game. And he was like, grandfather says he'll give you $10 for this. I said, oh man.
Yes.
There, folks. We're gonna pause for a hot second, and I'm going to allow for my brother Neo Mental If there's one brotherly situation that he still hates me for, like literally hates me for, it's this particular story. I was trying to do what a good brother does, and
No,
apparently
you
I
were
failed.
not. No, you were not. Don't even try to frame it. You were a piece of
folks. If you remember how you bought games from Toys R Us and EB Games and stuff, we didn't have previews. You used to look at the back of a box and you used to read it and be like, "Wow, that looks good."
You didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have anything. So if you were at a store and you saw something, you had to rely on what they were going to tell you, or if it was playing in the arcade cabinet, or if you have a dumbass brother named Boom, what he's going to tell you. So I'm going there, and I had my 3DO, was all excited because the thing was friggin' expensive. I had the smaller version, and I was playing a game like Quarantine, which was amazing. So I think at that point, I think you had just bought the Japanese PlayStation, which I think came out like 8-9 months before the American version.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you had what was the name of the game? I can't even remember.
Kalik the Blood was one of them.
Yeah.
Kalik the Blood, Tekken, Ridge Racer, and Battle Arena Toshinden. Those were
I think it was Kalik. And so we see this game, and it was for the 3DO. And I'm looking at the back, and I'm like, oh, this looks like that game. Because I think you lent me the system. And I was like, oh, this game was awesome. So I was playing it. So I wanted a game like that. Now, the 3DO was supposed to be more powerful or all this other crap. It was a $700 system. So I'm like, oh, this game looks like that game. Have you heard anything about it? What does he say? Oh, yeah, I heard it was a good game. Yeah, you should get it, bro.
What was the name of this greatest game of the year contender?
I don't know what the name of the game was, you piece of...
For the fans, for the people listening. What's the name of this beautiful game that you hate me for?
Iron Angel of the Apocalypse.
Anybody remember that game? Iron Angel.
No one remembers that game, bro. Nobody remembers because it was a horrible game. So I bought the import version or whatever. It was $70, $75
back then. Yeah.
So then I get home and I'm playing this game, and I'm like, this game looks horrible and it plays like dog. So I'm like, wow, this is horrible. So I called him and said, bro, this game sucks. This game is horrible. How did you do this to me? So much to the point when now, mind you, driving to Queens from the Bronx at that point wasn't a lot, but there was a toll stuff. I made him drive me back so I can get my money back. And what does grandfather say? Grandfather can't return game. What? What do you mean can't return the game? I just bought this like 2 hours ago. All right, so you don't want to, listen, you want to keep this guy happy because he's supplying us. All right, well, let me trade it in. Grandfather say he can give you $25. $25 for a game I bought 2 hours ago. He's going to turn around and sell for $50. What am I going to do?
He's probably going to rewrap it and sell it for $70. Probably what he would have done.
He probably did. Who knows? It probably was rewrapped because somebody returned it. So I took the hit. And you know what this wonderful man that you give your time to does?
Champion of justice, I consider myself.
Tune into at least once a week. This man, for a Christmas gift, wraps the game that he spent months looking for. He finds a new unopened copy of the game and gives it to me for Christmas.
I wrapped that present. It was beautiful. It was...
You are so lucky that the next time you give me a gift like that, bro, I'm unloading on you. That's all I'm saying.
I deserved it. I wrapped it real nice with a big bow, and I put it in a nice box. And when he opened it up, man, it was priceless. I got pictures and even some video. Maybe I'll share that one day.
On a quick side tangent, and then we'll get back to the games of the year. I got a chance to look at the Alien trailer, and I have to tell you, I'm sorry to say this, but that's not a real trailer. I knew about that's why it hasn't been picked up by a Kino Check or an IGN or anybody like that. The movie is real. I knew about the movie, so it's being directed by Fede Alvarez.
So it's a fake trailer, is what you're saying?
Trailer.
That's lame. Well, they fooled me.
That site does like fan-made trailers. Just so
well, there's.
But
that.
The movie's real. It is coming out next year, and it is a Hulu movie, and that's basically it. And it's being done by the guy who did Evil Dead 2013. which was awesome and amazing. So this should
there you go, folks. Boom,
totally awesome.
I saw it. Yes, I saw people talking about it. I'm like, really? Let me. I saw it on social media. Oh, Alien Romulus, check it out. I'm like,
sometimes these things are convincing, but yeah, that's
there's that, folks. Shout out to Phasma in the chat. Thanks so much for stopping by. Shout out to D Diaz, good friend of both the Mrs. Boom and myself. Thank you so much for stopping by. Fun speculation. What's going on, brother? How you feeling? Let's get back to it. We got to get to our number 8 picks. Sorry for the sideways chat.
Boom's not a nice guy. Don't let him fool you.
I am a lovely guy. I'm a great person.
Horrible.
I just treat my brother differently. Sorry. And I thought that was a fun gift. That was a fun gag gift. You got a nice gift on top of that, but it's what brothers do. It's what we do.
I got a nice gift for you, and it's wrapped in a nice little jacket. Let's say the jacket is Teflon. It's nice.
Oh my goodness, you are just so mean.
I am, because I'm hurt. But we'll move on. I digress.
We will digress. Damn it. So let's get back to our number 8 picks. Now everyone gave their number 9 picks. Okay, so for this game, it's to its lead up, got a lot of hot press, and then it came out, and the game is phenomenal. It's again, I don't know how many people are going to have it on their list. For me, it was worthy of it. I'm at the end of it now. I didn't beat it. I was one of those games. I'm just a few hours away from beating. Evil West was phenomenal. There was a game back in the days. I think it was back in the PlayStation 2 days, called Dark Watch. That was from Capcom. They published it. It was a first-person vampire shooter. With monsters, and this Evil West is basically that game merged with Gears of War. It is really, really good to look at. Let me bring that up on the screen right now for you, so you can see what I'm talking about. The game looks gorgeous, plays really good. A lot of big. Big time action moments. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't even know this game released. I thought originally it was coming into Xbox Game Pass. It didn't. This is well worth it. I'm sure you could find this game for $20. So my number 8 pick is Evil West. I think it's a phenomenal story. It's about vampires. It's got some werewolves, which you'll see in front of us now. It is really, really well done. And I don't know how many people are going to have it on the list, but I had to put it here. It's really good. Neil Mentor, what's your number 8 pick?
I wish I got more time into this. I didn't put this on the list only because I barely got into it. So I think this came out. Well, no, actually, I became aware of this. I think the same week Need for Speed came out. So I wound up pouring all my time into that. But from when I played it felt a lot like God of War. I think this is a solid game. This will probably be my my game I got to next year. Yeah, it's a solid game. What was it, number 8, right? All right, I feel weird about this one. Because I think I was talking to you about this when I was playing it. And it's Dreamlight Valley, the Disney game.
Dude, a lot of people really like that game. There's nothing to be ashamed about that. That thing had legs. It's basically Animal Crossing with Disney characters.
Yeah, it felt like it's like when you go to see like the Care Bears, when you take your little nephew to go see the Care Bears movie, you're in there, you're like, all right, I feel good. But if you go to see the Care Bears by yourself as an adult, you're like, all right, I feel like a pedophile. So it's a little weird, but it was really good. It wasn't what I thought it was, because I thought it was more like a online game. Because that's how I thought it was really marketed, and I think they kind of mismarketed the game, because it's a standalone game, with Disney characters, and I thought it was dope. It's almost like, what was that? The game with the figures.
Infinity, get Disney
right.
Infinity. Yeah.
It plays a lot like that without the figures. Because you start off on the base thing, and you got to open up the different lands or whatnot. you do a lot of crafting and stuff. And I only came across it because I was looking for more games like No Man's Sky. So every now and again, I'll go on to the store and then, look at the games like list, and it popped up. So I was like, all right, listen, it's Game Pass, so it's free. I'll try it. And the mechanics are solid. You could do mining, you do all these different things. The different characters. I got Wally. It went to the was it Little Mermaid and stuff. So it's solid. It plays a lot like Animal Crossing, or what's the other one? Stardew Valley. Is it Stardew Valley? I think it's Stardew Valley. But anyway, yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yep. It's a solid game. It is, again, if you got Game Pass, there's literally no reason to not play it. Yeah, a lot of fun. I didn't finish it, but I think I got about maybe 75% through it. And I'll probably go back to it. But I played that was towards the end of the year. So there was, there's a lot of stuff going on. But solid game. I really enjoyed the time I played with it. I got no complaints.
Solid pick. Again, that flew out under the radar for a lot of people. In fact, Phasma is literally playing it right now.
Oh, wow.
Chat. Yeah, so there you go.
Enjoy. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's not. You know what? Again, some of the games on our list you're not going to hear on anyone else's, but that's the whole point of it, right? Like we're not going to follow the trend. We're going to tell you what we played and what we enjoyed, and that's a solid pick because a lot of people did not talk about that, and that game quietly has a huge fan base. Like honestly, it has a huge. I know a lot of people that played it. And they're like, if you like Animal Crossing, you're going to love this game.
Yeah, I think they could have marketed that game better because I think it presented like it was going to be this online game or something like that, and I think that might have put people away from it. But I think with a little change in marketing, that game could have been a way more mainstream than it did.
Yeah, it's strong pick. Jay the Destroyer, what is your number 8 pick for 2022?
I was seriously worried about this game right before it came out, and was very pleasantly surprised. I'm a huge Sonic fan since day one.
Oh yes,
Sonic Frontiers. I'm interested to see where it goes. I thought it was a fresh take on Sonic, and I've been through every game. Played every Sonic game that was ever released, and it was refreshing. Let's just say that.
Well, their roadmap is pretty stout. You're going to be able to have other characters. You'll be able to play in the game, which is pretty awesome. That's much higher on my list. As fans, and you and I are both fans. We have a funny story about Sonic Adventure when it first launched. Like we imported that from Japan.
Great time.
And we had a great time. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite Sonics of all time. I know some people have 2 in their list over 1. The most iconic scene, at least for Sonic in its history, is that orca whale breaking through as you're running from it. It's iconic, and they did a great job. That's a strong pick at number 8. For you, Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your number 8 pick?
I went with Dying Light 2.
Okay. Wow.
It's probably going to come as a surprise to you guys.
I am very surprised.
You know that I'm not a fan of games with scary elements.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the open world elements of this game and everything else did just enough to warrant me actually kind of sticking with it, even though I'm a big, you know what. If you're a fan of the first game, this game is kind of a no-brainer. The parkour is the real star of this particular one. It's just really good and improved from the last one. The combat is very satisfying. I mean, there's few things in the world that are as visceral and fun as the way that a baseball bat bashes into the head of a zombie. The rest just kind of builds on what made the first one really good. And I just had quite a lot of fun, with playing this one.
Good for you.
I'm shocked.
Pulling up those big boy pants.
Yes.
Hey,
Playing
he put an H on his
I
chest.
know.
He was like, I'm here.
I am stunned, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
proud of you.
Thank you.
You're all grown up now.
Yeah.
It's good
You're
stuff.
big boy.
Yeah, because that's his thing. He does not play scary games, folks.
I do not. But I'm
He will
also
not.
a huge open world guy, and this is a great open world game.
Yeah, indeed it is.
Could be playing
great
games.
pick so far.
Wow, he's gonna be playing big boy games next year. This is gonna be completely different.
Yeah, no, still not playing Resident Evil 7, so but you know
that was so good. Resident Evil 8. You know what's just crazy? This is again, bag of shame, folks. No one is a bigger Resident Evil fan than me. Do you know that I still haven't beaten 8?
That's just unacceptable.
Bro.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
I beat 2 and 3 remakes 6 times. Really I just have not beaten 8 yet.
How have you not beaten 8?
Solid.
I thought Chris Redfield was a effing a-hole in this game.
Listen,
or whatever, just finish it.
I'm gonna finish it. I'm at the part with him right now at the end, so I'm probably a boss fight away from beating it. I have to beat it, but Resident Evil 4,
I don't
pre-ordered and purchased already. Remake. I can't effing wait. Let's get to number 7. My number 7 probably should have been higher. I did get a good significant amount of playtime through it. I heard the ending is very emotional. I'm halfway through the game. A Plague's Tale Requiem. Absolutely stunning to look at. In Xbox Game Pass, still shocking that it landed there. Asobo Studios, just wow. They continue to just be one of those developers that I have hope eventually fall under the wings of Xbox Game Studios simply because of their talent. It's amazing that this same team, and again, I know it's different teams within Asobo that made Flight Sim, which is still getting content and looks astoundingly beautiful. But a sequel to the original Plague's Tale is hard one to match, and they exceeded it on basically everything. Absolutely love this game. Again, it probably should have been higher, but for me, in the way I played games in 2022, for me, it's my number 7. Neo Mento, what is your number 7?
7. So it's a game on the PC that no one has heard of. I'm 100% sure. It's called Planet Crafter. Now again, I love me some No Man's Sky. And this is almost exactly like it. You're a prisoner that they throw on this planet, and you basically have to, in order to, I haven't finished it, so I don't know what the guy probably is, like a murderer, who knows. But in order to gain your freedom, you have to terraform the planet. So they throw you on this planet. It's like a Mars. You're in a spacesuit and stuff, and you basically have to slowly terraform it. So you're collecting materials and stuff. You start building your base. You start building, certain stages. So you have to terraform the planet. You have to get water on the planet. You have to get to a different stage where you get into atmosphere. You're getting grass and vegetation and stuff. But it was on Steam. And
you love those games.
Yeah, I do. I love it. But it was a lot of fun. And again, I think a lot of the PC games, I only stopped playing because I just got tired of sitting at my desk. But I do wish I do need to get like a mobile one that I could hook up to TV, because I would play it more. But I got it on Steam. So Steam, you can, if you have multiple systems, you can play it and stream it off my game machine. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game. And it's I think it's still in preview. So they were adding stuff to it. And I think it's a small team. It's really good. Really good. So I enjoyed that game. I would love to see that hit like consoles, but I think it's like a 2-man team or something like that. So we probably won't see it. But if you're out there, you like No Man's Sky or those type of games, 100% play this if you have a PC. It's not even graphic intensive. It's definitely a great game.
Nice. That's a strong pick. Listen, you love those types of games, and obviously it wouldn't appeal to me, but it definitely is worth for you the number 7 spot. And that's cool. That's awesome. Jay the Destroyer, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Evil West.
Nice.
Great graphics, fun game. Just so good. And I thought it was going to be a good game. It previewed well. It looked great, and it turned out to be even better than I thought it was going to be. And if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And I think it's worth even more than just buying it on the cheap. I think it's really worth the price. So check it out if you haven't checked it out already. It's a lot of fun.
Strong pick. Jada Retro Gamer, what is your number 7?
I went with Tiny Tina's Wonderland on this one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, dude. I bought it. I barely put any time into it. Holy crap. I forgot about that game.
Me too.
I mean, damn you, Gearbox. I mean, you suck me again. I always start playing these Borderland games, and the moment-to-moment gameplay in them, I love them. I love them. This one, you know, I couldn't ignore the fact that this one was a Borderlands game basically with a fantasy Dungeons and Dragons setting. The writing was great. The voice acting, it had, you know, Ashley Birch, Aloy from Horizon, Will Arnett, Wanda Sykes, Andy Samberg. And the game really did make me chuckle a few times. I'm playing it, but it suffered for me the same issue that I have with all these games. I am not a fan of the looting mechanic that they have, and you just manage these huge inventories of different types of weapons, and it's just that part of
Borderlands is a little crazy.
It is a little, and I'd rather just put it, you know, like give me just a handful of guns, different types of guns, and let me just go nuts. But the moment-to-moment gameplay in this game is same as the other Borderlands game. They're just a lot of fun, and just it's a great addition to that franchise, no question. It's just my personal little gripe with those types of games. So, but still a great game nonetheless.
Strong. That's a just strong pick. Again, I bought it and I put a couple hours into it. I actually started playing even like they had like the prequel. I think it was on PlayStation.
Yeah, Assault on Dragon's Keep, I think.
Yes. So I played a little bit of that. It's if you like Borderlands, I will say, and again, I'm only going based on what I've heard. I only put a couple hours into it. They overly delivered in Tiny Tina's as opposed to it just being a quote unquote Borderlands clone. I mean, listen, good strong pick. I honestly forgot about that game.
Yeah.
My number 6 pick, folks, comes with a bit of controversy because of the developer, you know, got himself in some trouble legally, which he's dealing with right now. Something that happened in 2020. The humor is, again, if you're a fan of Rick and Morty, what could you say? This game made me laugh out loud several times. The stabby thing is just awesome. I'm talking about High on Life, a game that, for good or bad, depending on what site you used for its review, destroyed this game. They beat it down so bad.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Really?
The sites just ate it up. Like if you look at what it is on Metacritic from the actual reviewers, and what's sad is that I think it had, the last time I checked, like normally when you go check on a review, let's say for instance on like God of War, it'll have 87 reviews, right? And you're like, wow, that's great. I could check it. Everyone's loving it, and for good reason. This game had, I think, 20 reviews of all the big sites. Like as many 20 sites reviewed this, and they beat it up. Now, I don't know. You can equate that to console war shenanigans or not, whatever your flavor of the day is. I think that it was because it was an Xbox exclusive. It got treated badly. And if you look at the user score versus everyone that played this were like, yeah, the gaming media community got it wrong, and I have to agree, they got it wrong. Now,
hovering around the 7s.
Yeah, 7, give or take. For me, it's in the high 8s. I would feel very, very comfortable with like an 8.5, an 8.7, even if I were doing like a point system like that for me, because I love the gunplay, the guns. Listen, if you are an Insomniac fan, and I'm a huge Insomniac fan, some of their best things that they've come up with over the years, besides Spider-Man, has been Ratchet and Clank and the way that their weaponry is made, right? This has a very Ratchet and Clank kind of a feel with the weapon. So for me, number 6 is High on Life. Neo Mental, what is your number 6?
6 for me was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You know, not really a lot to say here. It's Call of Duty. I mean, the fact that they went back to this game, was amazing. No spoilers. I'm pretty sure everyone's probably finished and beat it. And if you haven't, I won't spoil it. But I love the ending. They called back to a pretty controversial scene in the in the original version of this game. As I'm playing the game, there's a certain thing in the game that happens that I'm waiting for, and that didn't happen. It transpired differently, and I was here for it.
I know what you're talking about. I will not ruin it, but I'm right there with you. I was waiting for it, waiting to be disappointed. They pleasantly surprised us.
Yeah. And I just listen. I mean, who doesn't love Ghost? I mean, it's my guy.
He's an a-hole, but he is awesome.
Now, everyone knows a guy like him. You gotta love him. But I love the scene further in where you lose stuff.
Do you find a character like him one-dimensional?
I mean, I know guys like that. So it's like from a standpoint of what they're doing, he's there to get the job done. He's not there to make friends. He knows that at the end of the day, you might not come home. So, I think from a story perspective, yeah, he could be. But, knowing guys like that are there for the business, I can respect it. Also, too, you're not really going to flesh out that type of character. But I get it. That's a reasonable critique. But I love him, and I love the game. I think the gameplay was tight.
Graphically, it was gorgeous. Honestly, for it shocked how good the game looked. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think knowing that this was a reimagining, this again, you're playing the game like, oh man, I'm just really getting attached, and I know what's about to happen, and they did it well. And again, like I said, the ending, beautiful. I can't wait for the next one. So they did a great job. Yeah,
strong pick. Shout out to Kay Asante, host of the Gaming Circle podcast. Last week, actually not last week, because last week was the new year. Right before the new year, we did a monster push, and his well-deserving YouTube channel, where he has his Gaming Circle podcast, which he had just moments ago, crossed 1,000 subscribers. Shout out to Kay, that's my brother right there. We are going to
and subscribe to his channel.
Damn right. And actually, I'll be going to E3 with Kay Asante. We're gonna meet out in LA, and we're gonna spend a couple days there, and looking very much for that as well. Jada Destroyer, what is your number 6?
I feel the most underrated racing game of the year. Not that there's been a lot of them, but Grid Legends for me.
That's a good one.
The racer of the year. Just fun, awesome graphics. I don't know. It didn't have to. I had a lot of issues with Need for Speed. Lots of issues with Need for Speed. But
really.
Oh, dude!
I didn't play it, folks.
I don't want some dumbass story. Oh my god, how many times do I have to drive around and the people will not shut the f up? Constantly talking about nonsense in your ear. Shut up! God, leave me alone. I want to race. Oh I tried to shut the sound down and and then I'm like, well, now I'm missing story. But the story sucks and is stupid as hell.
Oh my god!
It was probably one of my
racing. I'll put my own music on. Give me some good racing. And
wow,
it did have good racing. I'm not going to lie to you. It did have good racing, but everything around it just marred it up and just shut up.
You are literally arguing the opposite.
I know, you're right.
About to say. Well, but
I
get it.
Neo Mental, we don't fit with our we could never be lovers, okay?
I agree. 100%.
I love it.
100%. I agree with that.
Oh my god!
Whatever.
There's never been a more true statement, my friend.
Grid Legends, awesome. If you just check it out, if you just want simple good racing without some stupid ass story and nonsense.
I love it
going on behind you. Thank you.
I love it. Hey, listen, you know what? That's one of the games that I never got to. I forgot that it was out. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Jay, the Retro Gamer, what is your number 6 for 2022?
All right. I'm going to bore everyone again with another little pick, another 2D Metroidvania. The last one of the list, which is Hack, Haak, game on PC and Switch.
Love that series.
Yeah. It's the pixelated 16-bit graphics set in a series in a theme like Fallout. While there's a healthy amount of combat, there's more of an emphasis on platforming and traversal, which I personally like. It's just a solid Metroidvania. I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, it's just if you're a fan of the genre, gotta check.
That's your jam, dude.
That's my jam.
That is his thing, and this world needs more of them. And
I mean, it used to be back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, where outside of Shadow Complex, which is another masterpiece in my opinion, that they wouldn't, you never saw those types of games. Now between console and PC, they're literally flooding the market.
Yeah,
they're everywhere on.
Well, again, the entry into making games is so much different than it was. You can be a solo developer and bring something to light that surprises and impresses. Very much similar to this game right here, Vampire Survivors. I want to see more of it. What I do wish is that they would find their way to console. And I know that it's much easier to release on Steam. The cost in versus what it is to a console is much different. But I'd love to see more of those Metrovanias, and Shadow Complex deserves a sequel. God damn it! Sorry.
I don't think we'll see it, but yeah.
No, I know. Wishing upon a star.
There are a lot of great ones on console too, so it's not just a PC thing.
Yeah, no, we will get to it for sure at some point. Shout out to let me see this Punty, good friend, brother of the channel. He says 100% Neo Mental Jada Destroyer. Pause in all caps. I love it. Hey man, the first super chat of the day comes the way of said gamer K Asante, very good friend of ours. Obviously, he says this is what gaming conversation is all about. Neo Mental, we could never be lovers. I love it.
Oh boy.
And Jay the Destroyer is being tame.
He is being tame because obviously this is a PG show. So thank you for that, for the tameness. Let's get to our number 5 picks, ladies and gentlemen. For me, number 5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This is the game that K Asante got an achievement for, like 130 hit combo, which I still don't have. And I beat this game 6 times. I beat it with every character. Loved every second of it. I think for me, I wish there were more characters that they could have added through DLC. I wish they could have. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine it sold very well, so we're going to get a sequel at some point. I hope we do. I'm hoping the next game is a little bit longer because this game had some length, but it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. You can only do so much, but it was well done, gorgeous. If you missed out on it, please go get this game. It's worth every penny. Neo Mental, what's your number 5 pick?
Well, it's the game in question. It's Need for Speed Unbound.
Oh, there you go.
Oh boy, here we
go. There's no doubt about it. The racing in it was very good.
All right, so what I will say is I think that all of the reasons that he didn't like it was what I actually was impressed with. I don't want to say impressed. I think the last Need for Speed I didn't finish. What was the last one? Heat.
Yes.
I liked it.
He was not that good. Yeah,
I liked it a lot, but I didn't finish it. And I did have some critiques for this one. I think the week schedule thing was a little annoying because, like he said, like there's just times where you just want to kind of just go to race, but like certain races weren't available, certain days you had to do certain things. I think that was a little annoying, but I like that they did something different here. The soundtrack, obviously, you know, he's more into metal. I'm more eclectic. I'm into everything. So I love the soundtrack. It actually, there's this one song on there, and I forgot the name of it. It was by a DJ. He's got like five different girl MCs. Song was dope. It made me go into his catalog and look at all these different ones. I think they're all, I don't want to say it wrong. I don't think they're Arabian. I can't remember, but go look up the soundtrack. It was dope. But it put me into a whole different level. So I love the soundtrack. It was dope. ASAP Rocky was in there. He's actually in the game.
Neo Mental, I not to stop you for a second, but just so to make one quick point, I'm not asking for Cannibal Corpse to be in there, but what I was asking for was a choice. And just musically, I'm a big into music. I personally had no choice in that game. Whether I liked it or not, it was very honed in on what it was. Where even if you check soundtracks to even like NBA 2K or anything like that, there's usually a sort of wide variety, even if there's little choice, but there's always something that will appeal to someone outside of who it's originally intended for. And
I get
that wasn't there in this game at all. There was no choice for me.
This was this was definitely a very youth hip hop. The whole vibe was like very flashy. I liked it at certain points. It was like, all right, this is a little bit much, but they went a kind of like over the top. We're gonna do like this flashy, the graphics, the whole thing. They went for that whole vibe. I don't know. I was there for it. I liked the storyline. I liked the fact that it was a little bit more cell shaded because I didn't like Heat. Like, you know, there was a few issues with the character selection. It was just kind of like everything is just kind of like cookie cutter, and I didn't like that. You know, I feel like they did black hair pretty decently, so I have no complaints. But I thought the storyline was pretty good. I like the fact that you were chasing something. The racing was dope.
Good.
You know, I had a lot of fun messing with the cops and stuff. Although I had a few issues with that. I think that whole mechanic is crazy because, like, you know, I've got a cop in a regular race, and the guy's barely tapping into me. Then I get the mission where I have to bring the car back with no scratches, and the cop is coming at me like a friggin' MX missile. I'm like, what is happening? Like, he's literally smashing into regular cars, killing pedestrians just to prevent me from handling this car in with no damage. So, I mean, there were some issues, but overall, I think this has probably been the best Need for Speed that I've played in a while. So, you know, unfortunately,
listen, strong pick. I mean, it's one of those games like Midnight Suns. I bought the best edition possible and didn't even turn it on because, well, that's just the kind of year I had when it came to gaming. Jada Destroy, what is your number 5 pick?
Don't say Need for Speed.
No, it's not. This is actually a game that actually has a good story. I'm a huge horror fan, and you know, I had picked The Quarry as an honorable mention, and this one I so underrated, and I don't think a lot of people played it. And I get it. The first hour is slow, but once it kicks in, it is effing madness, and that is The Devil in Me.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Out of all the Dark Pictures games, and they're all at least good, even though I have favorites and not so favorites, this is easily the best one. And like I said, when this game gets rolling, it is just absolutely relentless. And by the time it's over, I went online. I mean, I had a decent ending, a very good ending, how it ended, and I went online looking for some of the bad endings. One of the bad endings is so dark, maybe the darkest ending I have ever seen in a video game ever. So they really went for it with the horror. They went for it with everything. The horror is brutal. There's a lot of scary moments to it. I thought it's completely underrated. And if you like horror, like, you know, like I do, the Evil Deads, the Terrifiers, the this and that, just check it out. You know, if you have to get it on the cheap, get it on the cheap. And if you like supermassive games, this is one of their best ones.
Nice.
Since Until Dawn.
Yeah, and Until Dawn is still one of the best looking PlayStation 4 games. Like to this day, it still looks like amazing how good that game looks. And that's a strong pick. Jay, the retro gamer, what is your number 5 pick?
Okay, I'm just going to need you guys to indulge me for one more time. These lists tend to be very much a reflection of the gaming year that we had. And 2022 for me, gaming-wise, was a year for pinball for me.
Okay.
And the pick for me is Pinball FX, which right now is only on PC, but will be released on consoles. It's the next generation after Pinball FX3. I know, look, the guys in this group all remember Nathan's, and we all loved it. It was our favorite place in the world to go to, and we all love our old school video games. But for me, I also love the sound, the flashing lights, the sounds of the scoring, the bumpers, everything that a pinball game makes a pinball game. And these guys really did a great job. The new tables are great. They spruced up the old tables. I mean, so much so that I actually got so into it that I actually got myself behind me
there you go.
At Games Legends Pinball, modded the thing, and I'm just loving it to death. So I'd be remiss if I didn't. I put an insane amount of hours into this particular game, and it's just, there was a few games for me. It's just a ton of fun to play. So had to
give us a reason to go to your place.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. No other reason. That's
no other reason.
Strong pick. Let's get to number 4.
He doesn't fill his refrigerator, so what are we going to do?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, true. He's a terrible host, folks. Terrible. Absolute terrible host.
Terrible host.
Number 4, ladies and gentlemen, for me, Gotham Knights. Number 4. An unbelievably underrated game. Instead of people saying how great the graphics looked and how incredible the story was and the masterful done RPG system. It was done perfectly. If you liked playing with Red Hood and you eventually came back to Batgirl or something, all of the level up points that you made with one character would be there waiting for you on another. So no one was left behind. It was very, very well done. The cosmetics are not, you don't have to pay for them. You find them in game. You create you make your own suits through pieces that you find throughout. Every time you beat up a bad guy, they drop like a part of what you can put a suit or your firearms or your melee things. It's very, very RPG inspired, but not to the point where it's not fun to play. Some of the suits that I have created are just unbelievable. I've took a ton of pictures. Yes, 30 frames per second for a lot of people is like, yeah, I'm out. You know what? That's a shame.
I agree.
The game plays.
I totally agree.
Yeah, the game plays so good. The combat isn't as great as Arkham. Yep. I will say that Arkham did something special, especially with the dodges. But this game, please, if you see this game for like $20 or $30, do not pass on this game. It is a lot better than the reviewers gave it credit for.
I argue, and it's, if not full price, very close to full price.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you bought this for full price, I don't think you'd be disappointed.
Price on it. I didn't try to return it.
Yeah.
No, I had zero problems with the game, except just didn't have time for it. Like I think I got to the auxiliary cave or apartment or whatever that was, and then I stopped playing around there. But I enjoyed it.
You definitely got to get back to it for sure.
I honestly think it's going to be, when all is said and done, and maybe that's talked about in the same vein as Arkham Origins.
Yep. I absolutely agree.
Non-Batman, our Rocksteady game that was really good, but a lot of people really didn't appreciate it. Like, it was better than the reviewers gave it. The score.
1,000%. Neo Mental, what is your number 4 pick?
4 is High on Life.
Good, strong.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I had a few problems with the combat. I enjoyed it. I like that humor. It reminds me a lot of like Breath's Edge, those type of games. Referencing a game probably nobody played. But yeah, it was good. The humor was funny. That Rick and Morty style. Doubt we'll see a sequel.
Why? Why do you think?
Why?
That dude's probably going to jail. You know,
actually, I got to actually for some reason I don't know that story. I got to actually.
Yeah, he did some sort of assault and battery and held his girlfriend in 2020 against her will, and he's pleaded not guilty. It's an ugly case. It's ugly.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to eventually wind up going. But yeah, it's a battery case.
I mean, you like to say that it's not true, but you
don't know people.
You know, so I mean, he's allegedly, but I'm always for the victim. So we'll see. Innocent until proven guilty, but it is what it is. Yeah, I enjoyed the game. I love Rick and Morty. It's a good game.
Yeah, strong. That's a strong pick. Jada Destroyer, what's your number 4?
Horizon Forbidden West. Again, I didn't have any issues with it. I had fun from day one. My son beat it twice. He loved it.
Good job, Ben.
Yep. And he loved it, and I loved it too. And there's really not much to say about it. I mean, do I think it was better than Zero Dawn? I not almost as close, but still a great game, and that's my number 4. Number 4. Yep.
No, that's a strong pick. Jada Retro Game. What's your
I
number?
just have a question.
Sure.
So you saw the ending and had zero problem with how that last fight was, or what the continuation will probably be?
Listen, am I expecting a lot of video game writing to be like, Scorsese? No. So, but at the same time, it's, I don't know. I have a weird line. I don't like that Need for Speed racing stuff, like complete nonsense. If you try to at least make an attempt, I'll respect it, whether I like the ending or not.
I just feel that, like, especially on the Sony side, when you like The Last of Us issues aside, the story was amazing. Well, the second one I had an issue with what's the name, but that's neither here or there. I can at least understand that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like most of their games are solid. Like here, it's just I just feel like they jumped the shark the entire game. Like, I don't know. I don't want to beat a dead horse.
I respect.
That's fine. Listen, it didn't hit for me either. Forbidden West just didn't hit for me.
You didn't even get to the part that I'm even talking about. Like,
no, but
just I don't know. I
Kay Asante has over 300 hours in that game. By the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kay, I need to have a conversation.
400 hours. Yes, almost 400 hours into that.
Kay, did you beat it? I mean, I need to have a conversation.
He does. He says he has a lot of issues, both technically and story-wise. Same as you.
All right, we'll have to have a conversation because I've got issues. So I will drop it.
You know that.
Yeah.
Listen, let's continue. We'll be here until tomorrow. Horizon didn't hit for a lot of people. It didn't hit for me. I love Forbidden. Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn is one of my favorites. Favorite new IPs. I just couldn't get into it. But Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick. It's a little bit of a downer now after hearing this news, but High on Life.
There you go.
I mean, this is a game. Let's be real. I mean, this game was getting positive buzz. Trade was like, what is this game that we're hearing about? And then just never, out of nowhere, I just kind of started playing it. And I think it was Jay the Destroyer who said, you got to play this game. And when I started to, I was literally doubled over laughing playing it. It is the hands down the funniest game I have ever played. But the thing that I think a lot of people don't need to know also, that it's really a great game too, outside of all that. I mean, it's gorgeous. It also never overstays its welcome too. It's not a long game. Like you said, Mr. BoomStick, I think the character's name is Knifey. Maybe my favorite character of all time. They deserve, I thought it was getting a lot better, reviewed better than when I actually saw it, but it deserved all the credit that it got. Again, a little bummed out about the developer, but because the last thing I wrote down was that I hope there's a sequel to it.
I believe there will be a sequel. Like I said, what's going through his legal battle right now is it's people are people. People are gonna do some questionable things, and innocent.
Well, no, I mean, if it's true, throw that dude under the bus. I don't have any patience for that. I mean,
no, of course not. No, we don't. Developer or not, superstar or not, you beat on people, especially like it's a battery case against his girlfriend. You're going to jail. Sorry.
This show does not condone that.
No.
Not at all.
Do not beat on your spouse.
Don't beat on anyone. But,
don't beat on anyone for that, man. That's great way to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good stuff. Let's get to number 3, folks. And now we're getting to the real, nitty gritty, if you will. For me, number 3 is Sonic Frontiers that you see on your screen. I was blown away. I had some concerns for this game, and I have to say I was incredibly and pleasantly surprised by the direction. Sonic had been on a bit of a decline for years, and this brought me as close to that Sonic adventure feel I could ever get, and in some cases exceeded it. I was thrilled that this is the new direction for Sonic. I love the RPG-esque system where you can level up some of his moves. The open world, as wide as it was, for a lot of people seemed like a little empty. For me, some of those big boss battles where it was very Shadow of the Colossus inspired were amazing. The future of Sonic is incredibly bright. I owe Keasanti in the chat my knees because I said this was going to outsell God of War, which by all rights it should have. So I admitted that, and of course I'm going to hand him my knees.
Did you? That's right.
Sorry.
Are you insane?
No, I'm not, because God of War was on 2 platforms versus this being on 5 platforms and having a film in the beginning of 2022 that was big and had a series on the back end, which, by the way, Sonic on Netflix is amazing. So I thought just based on that,
you're saying it mathematically should have sold more, but not that it should because it's a better game than God of War.
God of War is a great game. I haven't played it. I'm going to get to it. It's beautiful. It looks great, but I am a Sonic fan, and I think that Sonic should have doubled it up, in my opinion.
There was no planet, no reality.
A madman's bet.
I wasn't a madman's bet. You just wanted to give K money, and you figured this is a good way to do it.
It's a good way to give it. Well,
I never would have in any reality or any time.
Listen to the podcast, you'll see how confident. But you know what? I'm not as bad. I'm not as bad as Everborn Saga, who refuses to admit the truth.
And I'd even go as far as to say that even if you took out the fact that it was packed in with a lot of PS5s, even if you took that out of the numbers, I still think it would have.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wanted to see Sonic outdo the bald bastard, but that didn't happen. So, oh well. Neo Mental, what is your number 3 pick?
3, another game that no one's ever heard of is Siberia: The World Before. I mean, it actually did come out on Xbox. I bought it originally because it came out in March on the PC. And I started playing it there, and then I stopped playing, and then it came out on the Xbox, I think October. Siberia has been out on the systems before. It's a good point-and-click game. It's by this artist, Sokol. It's a really good story. I love it. So just got back into it. I thought this was going to kind of wrap it up because he passed away. And it was a nice series. It's a little out there. The graphics on this one were really good. The gameplay was good. There's a lot of callbacks. I enjoyed the story. And again, like for me, the story is everything. So, I mean, if you're into the story stuff, I mean, again, it's more point and click. Well, actually, this one's a little bit more adventure style, but there's no like fighting and stuff like that. A lot of puzzle solving and things of that nature. But it was really good. I was really happy with the way, if this is the end of the series, I was happy the way they capped it off. I had a good time. I'm actually going to go back because I want to pick up some of the things I missed, which is why I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good game. I think, people should check it out, or at least YouTube some of the stuff and see if you're into it. But it was a good game.
No, listen, again, these are our picks. And a lot of people won't have some of these games on their list. and that's what makes this show so much fun. Jay the Destroyer, what is your number 3?
My number 3, and it could be higher, but my top 2 are very personal. So God of War Ragnarok is number 3. It was it is Be the Destroyer's number 1 game of the year. I think he beat it twice.
Wow.
Put in about 30 hours each time. It's just everything that you wanted this game to be. Top of the line, everything. I don't even know what to say about it, to be quite honest, but it hasn't been said already. So that's my number 3.
Strong pick. Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your number 3?
All right, now we go to the heavy hitters now. Number 3 is Gotham Knights.
Nice.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah, after it's been 8 years since Arkham Knight.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and so Gotham Knights had some impossibly big shoes to fill in terms of quality. I mean, I'm just inherently, I'm a huge Batman fan, and the Batman lore is just always interesting to me. And just as an open world game, they just crafted something that was interesting. The story, look, it's very comic booky and may not be for everybody, but I just had a ton of fun with it. It had, it suffers from what a lot of these open world games have, and just like maps that just have a ton of stuff to do. But I just kind of took things, pretty easily and just had my own fun with it. Just pick and choose what I did in any given playthrough of it. It's not perfect. A lot of the reviewers complained that the combat was weak, repetitive. I found the opposite to be true. I mean, the only thing I really didn't like in this game was the gear upgrade system. I just thought it was overly confusing and it just wasn't fun. But luckily, I just put it on easy, and it never became an issue for me. The big thing is that you just have to know it's not an Arkhamverse game. If you take the game on its own merits, it is way better than any reviewer has given it credit for, and I really do hope that people will get to check it out over time, because it is well worth it.
Absolutely, 1000%. Well, listen, folks. Now we're getting into it. Here is the top 2 games of the year for us. My number 2, and I fought back and forth with this for a while. I wasn't sure because I put equal hours into both games on my top 1 and number 2. I should not like, because I don't like them. My number 2 pick is Vampire Survivors. It came out of nowhere, fell into Game Pass. Probably would have never played this game if it wouldn't have gotten the Game Pass, because I don't like roguelites. And this game is a triumph of everything that goes into one of these stories, of hearing how one person had an idea for a game that his love of Castlevania is poured into this. It is a game that you can go back and play at any given time. It is addicting as F. The DLC is phenomenal. I hope there is a sequel. I know Phil Spencer has over 100 hours in this game. I think I've surpassed 100 hours myself. Well worth every minute you play it. If you are a fan of Castlevania, if you're a fan of top-down shooters, this is definitely for you. I just think that it's ingenious. And the fact that there's so many pixels on the screen towards the end of one of your runs, that it literally all you see is numbers. A phenomenal game. Worth. And there were some aspects that it was going to be number 1. But another game, and you'll find out moments from now, that got there. Neo Mental, what is your number 2 pick?
Well, one of my most favorite games made a comeback. And I know it's on no one's list at all, especially not this high. But Return to Monkey Island.
I knew it.
I love me some Ron Gilbert. I've been waiting for this game when they first announced it. It's interesting though, because with this one, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. And I think going into it, they chose a different art style, which I don't have a problem with. I think that especially since I've been playing a lot of older games, and I was kind of like really stuck wanting that pixel style. But I think for what it was, there was a lot in this game that really reminded me of my childhood, and the game was solid. I went back and beat it twice. I'll probably go back for a third, and I got nothing bad to say about this game. I was happy that it came out. Oh, I just realized this. So, what is it? Joe, what's that game, that company that makes the special edition games? That's not
you're talking about
Unlimited Run. Yesterday they did another, because I bought the Monkey Island special edition from them for all the previous games, but they did one for this game and it dropped yesterday at 10 a.m. and I gotta hope that they have some left because I want to go buy that.
Yeah, I think they offer I think I remember seeing that I think they offer like an upgrade kit, which just includes just the parts.
Yeah, I'm gonna get both.
Add it to your collector's edition.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that, and then I'm gonna get another one just for Monkey Island. So, because they're amazing. They're a little weird though, because I remember getting the first Monkey Island one, and it took like a year.
Their shipping is awful. Their shipping is just awful. I bought the collector's edition of Dead Space with the helmet from them.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll ship that out on time. I can actually play the game on time.
I didn't get the Monkey Island one for like a year. I actually forgot about it. I was at work back from the pandemic, and then the dude, my mail guy, drops it up in my office, and I'm like, "What the heck is this?" I open it up, and I'm like, "Whoa! I ordered this thing like a year ago." But anyway, aside, the game is fun. If you've played the original one, it was amazing. This was a nice little thing that makes me really hopeful that we get a new Zach McCracken.
Yes, one of your favorites. That's a strong pick. I knew that one. I'm actually surprised not your game of the year, to be honest.
Well, we all know what's number one. There's no way I can say this was better. So I mean,
okay, all right. Jada Destroyer, what is your number 2 pick?
This was my most anticipated game of 2022, and this is a personal thing. I hadn't had any nowhere near as much fun as I had in this game with any other game. It's Evil Dead.
Oh wow!
Evil Dead was so amazing from day one. Playing online was so much fun, either as one of the characters or playing as the Evil Dead, which was unbelievable. I never played anything like it. And just so much fun and bloody and a love letter to the
man.
And just amazing. Everything about it was like from a fan, like if just a development team of fans made it, that's what it was to me. And that came out in the gameplay and everything about it. And I appreciate that as a huge fan of Evil Dead. I appreciate that more than anything. So that's my number 2.
That's a strong pick. Jada Retro Gamer, what is your number 2 pick?
Oh boy. Here we go again. We're gonna get into it. My number 2 game is Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay. Good for you.
I mean, when the original game came out 5 years ago, I really did, when I was putting my top 10 together, I really anguished between that game and Assassin's Creed Origins, which I put way more time into than Horizon. But there was just something about that world and Aloy and the music in Horizon, especially that main theme that is just it's hypnotic to me. I just love it.
Yeah, they definitely set a good scene. They definitely set the scene. I'll give them that.
Definitely set the scene. And look, and whether you guys agree with me or not, I mean, it improved a lot of aspects of that original game to me. I thought the combat was more varied than the original game was. One of the big knocks on the original game was the traversal. And this one did offer a lot more in the way of kind of getting around the map, which I did. You can finally climb more in this game than you could in the original one. It was a beautiful. I will say, like, I will agree on the story, and I know some people are big on lore. I barely understood what the hell was going on in this game. It just went over my head. There was a lot of it. I know they put a lot of time into it. I just didn't get it. But luckily, for me, I didn't have to understand it too much. I just understand the basics. But everything else to me, I thought Guerrilla Games I thought they did a great job with it. So
I think they made a great attempt.
Again, that story is to be desired. Some people didn't dig it, and some people did, and it's fine. That's a strong pick, but let's get into the game of the year, folks. Our number one, our single a game of the year for me. It's what's on the screen, Elden Ring. There's no reason, rhyme, or any sort of explanation as to why I like this game. I do not like Souls games. I didn't have the patience for them. But I put hundreds of hours into this. I didn't beat it. I got to the last boss. I thought I was OP'd, and he taught me a lesson. And it's so cheap, the last boss, and it's such a change of combat ideology. You are on foot, and there's no way to call your steed where I would have beaten in probably 2 tries. The boss is cheap. It's just a cheap boss. I will attempt to beat it at some point, but the game was just such a phenomenal game for someone who does not like Souls-like games. But that's my number one. Neo Mental, what is your game of the year?
God of War. I mean, I think everything about the game is on its own. I mean, I had zero problems with the game. I didn't encounter any issues. I think the story was great. I mean, there's moments in this game where, like, you got a little choked up. So from a thematic standpoint, I think it was amazing. I like the fact that they kind of switched it up. You had different people, you had different partners. They kind of pushed. I mean, you kind of want to say this was DLC, but it's not. I just felt like it was tight. I enjoyed the experience. I didn't, by any means, platinum, and I think I'd go back to it to kind of rough stuff up.
Do you feel that it did enough to separate itself from the original?
I mean, it really was. It's more of a continuation versus a sequel, because you're dealing with events that transpired in the previous game. That I mean, listen, this whole thing kicked off because you killed 2 of Thor's kids, and listen, that has ramifications, and now you're dealing with that stuff. So plus you killed this girl's son too. So and that whole thing is coming to a head. So you could literally play both games back to back, and it would be like one long game. You know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of feel like it was DLC-ish, because it wasn't like, we're going here.
Empire Strikes Back DLC to Star Wars? Is Return of the Jedi DLC to Empire Strikes Back?
You're talking about a movie versus a game.
Yeah, but it's
I mean, the theme, like the tonal theme of Empire, is very different than.
I understand that. I get that, but I'm just saying, like, and obviously it's your number. What are we talking about? It's your number one game. Yeah, so I know you're not like dogging it or anything, but I feel anyone who said this was DLC has to get their head checked.
Yeah,
no. I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, in terms of like, it's not like this God of War versus the previous God of War. It's like a completely different. It's a whole new game. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like where this one, we're not talking about there's new graphics or we've changed the gameplay in terms of like we've added all this extra stuff. Like they kind of like took the main game, do a different frosting on it. And I'm like, here you go. So at its core, it's still the same game. There's enough that it's different, but it's not like enough where it's a different game versus a DLC. I don't think they should have charged $30 for this. I think it was worth it $70. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that at its core, it felt a little bit more DLC-ish that was longer. Like if you would have split this 2 up.
Yeah, I feel like if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
100%, yeah.
Hey,
I got no problem with it. Listen, they got my 70. I'm good.
Same here.
Not a problem. No complaints at all.
I mean, you can say it's in some ways that it's iterative, but we don't want to diminish the how good that game is. But it's not a world different, but it didn't have to be.
Yeah,
it's just telling a story that they needed to continue. And It is
like,
what
I
it is.
think this is going to open up, without ruining the ending for the people who may not have played it. I think you're going to get a kind of like Assassin's Creed situation with God of War. I think the next one is going to be in a completely different mythos. And I think also you have the possibility to now of kind of separating the characters and branching this out, which I think is amazing. I think we're going to get a lot of good content from this. And I don't think that Sony's going to screw that up. So I'm really excited for what we're going to see in the next 5 years from this franchise. I think it's amazing.
That's good. Well, that's good stuff. Again, it's one I'm sad. I'm very sad to say I didn't get to. I will definitely crack
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get into that. Jada Destroyer, what is your game of the year?
Not only is this my game of the year, but I sat down the other day and I thought to myself, I think this might be one of my favorite games of all time. And how many times each year, do you have a game that's on your top 10 that you can honestly say could be one of my top 10 favorite games of all time? And without a doubt, that is Vampire Survivors.
There you go.
Just
Wow.
literally, if I don't throw the word perfection around a lot, but this game literally is, for me, it's perfection.
Yeah.
And I think it harkens back to, all the games that I grew up on, and it's just the core gameplay is so, like, it's such a, like, perfect. I think about it when I'm not playing it. I think about it constantly I can't wait to get back to it. There's nothing, and a $5 game after spending 70 on this, 70 on that, 60 on this, 60 on that, a $5 game to me just really showed who's boss this year for me. So
yeah, strong
Vampire
pick.
Survivors. If you haven't checked it out, again, the first time I played it, I didn't quite get it. I was like, this is what everyone's talking about. And then all of a sudden I played it again and again and again. And by a couple turns in, I was like, oh, now I get it. And yeah, I think it's one of my favorite games. It's going to, when I make a list of my favorite games of all time, this is going to end up somewhere on there without a doubt. So that is my number one.
That's a strong pick. It was, again, it missed my number one by a hair. I loved it. I still love it. I could pick it up anytime and play it. It's just a game that just keeps giving it. And you're right, for $5, it's ridiculous how much you get for that $5. Jada Retro Gamer, folks, we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. What is your game of the year?
Number one, God of War Ragnarok.
Okay, strong.
Me too.
How much more now? At this point, we can say. I think for me, and Neo, you can appreciate this more than anybody. I've always been pretty much a gameplay guy. It's just I'm like, a story is good. A story can complement a good game, but at the heart, it's got to be fun to me. God of War, on top of being a good game, was one of the rare games that I actually got seriously invested in the story. And there's a lot of lore in this one too. And I actually went back and looked at story recaps. I tried to figure out, because it was really confusing to me who everybody was. And a lot of those fantasy names tend to confuse me a lot. So I really took the time.
Confused a lot.
What?
I gotta say, you get confused at
meaning like the names of the places, like Niflheim,
Glorious Horizon.
Yeah, no, that's just like, I like simple stories.
Okay, all right.
Let's just say that. But this one actually, I mean, again, like we said, it was iterative on the. There are some gameplay improvements from the last one, but it's not a huge difference over that. I still don't like the incessant puzzles in those games, in the God of War games. But I mean, this is truly what I thought a AAA epic game should be. Me in every sense of the word.
Yeah, well, listen, that's just a strong pick for you. It's again, it hit on every level, and I would imagine that when I finally get to it, it's going to hit on every level, because it looks as good, and the story continues with 2018, which I thought 2018 was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, also being a father, with a son, it also hits on a different level for me.
There you go, and that's what makes it perfect. Yeah, and that's I love that.
Well, listen, no one's gonna have a 20-minute acceptance speech here.
No, we will not do that. We're gonna be getting out of here in moments because I got some stuff to do and I'm still not feeling 100%. But listen, let Jay, the retro gamer, tally up the points. And we will start. We will give our game of the year in a few moments. But were you able to tally it up?
It's going to be a tie, no?
I thought up until your pick for game of the year, Neo, it actually almost was high on life.
Oh wow!
Really?
Okay.
It was close.
So what is the group game of the year?
There's a clear winner this year with myself and Neo picking God of War.
Okay, so there it is. God of War, game of the year.
God of War is your number one this year for the group.
Wow. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Where did Vampire Savior rank? Because I feel like the two number ones.
It was actually tied for second.
There you go.
With High on Life.
Now I really wish I would have played that game. Wow.
Yeah. Well, God of War, our group game of the year for 2022, ladies and gentlemen. We're like I said, folks, we're gonna get ready to get on out of here. I want to thank everyone that tuned in. We are going to do our one pick, our most anticipated game of 2023. For me, it was originally Dead Space, the remake, which it's still high on my list. But after seeing the recent footage of Atomic Heart, that has jumped off the page for me as a BioShock fan. BioShock 1, still one of my favorite games of 2007. Atomic Heart looks to hit on all of that and then some. Or in a bag of chips for some. But Neo Mentor, what is your most anticipated game for 2023?
The day before. I'm really hoping
strong pick.
Yeah, I'm really hoping. I mean, this, we're all a little nervous with these updates. They finally locked down a date. I believe we're supposed to be getting it in March. And I feel like for a game that's supposed to be coming out in another 2.5 months, and the fact that we haven't seen solid gameplay is extremely nervous to me. This is it's looking a lot like The Division, and I'm in it for I'm in it for $100. So
does look good though.
It looks great. It looks great, and I think everything I think just like with The Division, everything that they're promising, that I don't think we're gonna get. So I'm really, really excited to see this game, but I'm really interested to see what comes out. So
nice. That's strong. That's a strong pick. Jay the Destroyer, what is your most anticipated game of 2023?
Without a doubt, it's Resident 4.
Strong.
I mean, who doesn't love what Capcom did with 2 and 3?
Yep.
And I just can't wait to see this just all maxed out and all. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's a strong one. I can't wait to see what they do with the game. If they added some new areas where it's not just a carbon copy like they did with 2. Like 2 had, familiar areas, but they changed it up enough where you were still, racking your brain on how to solve a puzzle. I expect them to do that as well. That's a strong pick. And finally, Jay the Retro Gamer, what is your most anticipated game of 2023?
I'm calling my shot now. I'll be surprised if this is not my game of the year next year, and that is
really
Spider-Man 2.
Strong. That's a good one.
There's no doubt that Insomniac Games is going to knock it out of the park again. I'd be highly. It's either going to be my number one game or my most disappointing game of the year. It's going to be one or the other.
I seriously doubt they're gonna mess that up. I mean,
seriously, yeah. I mean,
it's Insomniac. It's unlikely that they're gonna mess that. That's a strong. Everyone had strong picks. I love the fact that we all had different tastes. Not that again, we're not following any trends. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this year's Double Barrel Gaming Presents Game of the Year 2022. We went half an hour longer than I would have liked because I'm still feeling under the weather. But I hope that you enjoyed the show enough to hit the like button. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. K. Asante says we should do this every 6 months, not once a year. Well, thank you for the compliment, brother. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. And we had a lot of fun. We have fun for this. This is not meant for clicks and views. It's meant for us to hang out and have a good time. But thank you for the single super chat that came in from K. Asante. Thank you for the generosity. Again, we don't do this for the money, folks. We do this for the love of gaming. And obviously, we live and die on the Vine, whether you like it and view and, share this out on social media. But of course, let's get to the outros. Neo Mental, where can people find you on social media, which you are hardly on?
They can't.
They can't.
Leave me alone.
He's on Twitter at Neo Mental, but he does not really he's not on Twitter. A lot of people. Mrs. Boomstick is anti-social media. That's why she shouldn't have an account, and she's only known as Mrs. Boomstick because she doesn't.
Because it ain't social. People
it's
out
awful.
there crazy. I ain't got time for it.
Awful. Jada Destroyer, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you on social media?
I don't know. Just a shout out to my lady, Dana Von Letta. Just want to say hello to her, and that's pretty much it.
That guy,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. I like that.
And thank you.
Excellent.
And that's
got heart.
pretty much it. And if anyone is into horror, check out my my 2 favorite movies of the year, which was Terrifier 2, Black Phone, which was
Black Phone was great. Mrs. Moosick and I watched that last weekend. It was fantastic.
Amazing. And there you go.
Yeah, good stuff. And Jay the Retro Gamer, you are also a non-social media kind of a person.
No.
But if someone wanted to...
I'm very social in person.
Yeah, in person, he's social, but not on social media, which is fine. Where could people find you?
Jay the Retro Gamer, but
on Twitter. There you go. Everyone's information is going to be there for you to check out if you want to reach out to everybody. But that is going to do it for this year's Double Barrel Gaming Presents the Game of the Year 2022. A big thank you to everyone that tuned in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we will see you back this time next year, probably with a whole host of new games to add to the conversation. There's going to be a lot. 2023 is shaping up to be better than 2007, possibly. We will see if everything hits. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next year.